Thank you very much, Ed. And what a huge result for the Fremantle Football Club. Cannot wait to hear Rossline on the couch tomorrow night. With me, I have one of the couch members and triple premiership hero for the Brisbane Lions, Jonathan Brown. But Brownie, before we get stuck into this match here between North Melbourne and Sydney, we should say a happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there.
That's right, we should. And happy Mother's Day to my beautiful mother, Mary. And happy Mother's Day, of course, to yourself, Sarah.
Thank you.
Our only treasured mum who appears on air.
Thank you, Dan. They're beautiful. You shouldn't have. Well, I might give these to Kanga, if that's okay. Can you look after me? Thank you. Well, Dan, we are in the presence of coaching greatness today because our own Brownie...
He's great at everything.
Yeah, great at everything. Hampton League.
Well, I got called up to coach the interleague side, the Hampton, where I grew up in the southwest region, and quite enjoyed it, Dan. It was a great day.
Oh, fantastic, mate. We love it. Everything you do in footy is great, though.
Oh, no, it's just great. It's just great to give back to a little bit of grassroots footy. And I'll tell you what, a few nerves after three-quarter time when the boys didn't give a yelp in the third quarter there, Derm, so I was a bit fired up.
You're not leaving us anytime soon. You haven't got the coaching bug now?
Well, I had the coaching bug towards the end of the game, but I'm happy it's just a once-off, Sarah.
All right, let's focus in now on the Kangaroos. A crucial match for them today. Of course, Brad Scott was incredibly happy with their great win over the Adelaide Crows down in Tasmania, but Brownie not so happy with that suspension to Jared Waite. He is a huge out.
Yeah, he's a huge out, definitely. And majority of the time they win when Jared Waite's in there, and when Jared Waite's not there, majority of the time they lose. It's a big one and questionable, the suspension, but we know there's a lot of... a lot of talk about these head-high tackles, Derm, I suppose. But Jared Waite's a big loss. He just brings... He's a hard matchup. He's very mobile. He's not a straight line leader like Ben Brown is, so he seems to complement Benny Brown really well.
And what it actually does in his presence, Mason Wood, for that style of play, gets the second-string mobile backman, which could even be, with Ben Brown there, the third-string backman. Now he's up to the second-string backman. So there's a shuffle-down effect when he's not there.
Yeah. Let's look at the Swans now. There's a late change. Ollie Florent is out. Newman is in. And interestingly, Gary Rowan hasn't come back into the side, and Kurt Tippett also not in. Brownie, where's he at?
Don't know where Kurt Tippett's at. He's obviously on a huge wage, we know that, but Sinclair's there as well, and obviously Naismith is a ruckman, so that's a really interesting one, and just hasn't been able to have an impact forward or in the ruck. He started to get going a couple of years ago, late in 2015 term, where I thought he was almost an All-Australian there, playing that ruck forward position, but he's dropped off through injury and just can't regain any form.
All to do with the timing of his hands. If he's training and he's not grabbing them cleanly, can't play him yet.
Well, the Swans and John Longmire have found themselves in pretty unfamiliar territory this year. Here, the coach is with our very own David King.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, John, it's been a fantastic week for you. Finally on the winners' side of things, but your pressure game looked to be back last week.
Yeah, it was important for us. We've been talking about it for quite a while, for quite a few weeks, but we haven't actually delivered it. And last week we delivered it for longer than what we were, obviously, in the weeks previous. So it's important to be able to do that, clearly. I mean, you look at all the games, it's really the number one indicator to be able to deliver it for a long time.
Good to see your midfield bounce back and get some possession. Hanbury got 26 and I think Parker got 30, but Zach Jones is probably the wild card in the midfield you needed, that extra speed.
Yeah, absolutely. We were really confident with him last year, playing off a low preparation. We got him into the team whenever we could, and he's had a very good year this year, and he adds that little bit of dash. There's no question about that, and he uses the ball really well, and he's hard at it. So he's been really good for us.
You've seen the depth of where the season's taken you. Obviously, you're starting to come out of that now over the last week or so. What have you noticed specifically that's changed?
Oh, we just need to be harder for longer, and you need to keep that intensity up for a long period of time. We've done it in really short bursts all year, but they've only been really short bursts, and we haven't been able to sustain it. So we just need to be able to sustain it. And against North Melbourne, who won by 10 goals last week against Adelaide, you need to do it for a long time.
Lance has had great success against some of these Kangaroo defenders. He kicked 8 last week. He was enormous. What are your focuses on for him specifically today?
Well, we've got to actually get the ball in the midfield. That's not going to be easy against some bigger bodies, and get the ball forward. But they've got a really strong defence. They've been hard to score against the last 3 weeks in particular. So Tarrant and Thompson in particular, really top-line defenders. So it won't be easy for him or any of our forwards, but we need to get the ball in our front half clearly.
Do you expect them to tag today? Do you expect the Gibson to run with maybe a Hanbury or a Parker?
Yeah, it could. It could be Jones, could be a number of different players, but he's a good run with player, but he goes hard the other way and kicks goals as well. So you need to be mindful of that if he goes to you, and take it as a compliment.
Important to get the win today.
Absolutely.
Good luck, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Boys, Rising Star winner Callum Mills has found himself coming under plenty of attention already this season. In fact, Josh Kennedy admitted that the team hasn't been protecting their young star as much as they should have done.
Well, what he is, apart from being a wonderful player, he's a real good organiser down back. And it's reminiscent of back in the day, Brownie, we used to target Bomber Thompson, who was the youngest player in Essendon's back line, but he was the wisest head down there. You cut the head off and the rest of the body dies. That was our old theory. So what they're trying to do is make it so difficult for him. He's got no time to dedicate to the teammates around him. All his focus is about self-preservation, so that's why they're targeting him.
And he'll grow through this, don't worry about that. And look, you've got to take it as a compliment, Callum Mills. That's the way he's got to look at it. The opposition's targeting me because they're worried about it. So he'll take it as a compliment and his football will develop from here.
North Melbourne's Sam Gibson found himself in the headlines last week after a stellar job on the Brownlow medal favourite Rory Sloane for the Crows. But he's also incredibly durable. Since beginning his football career, he's played 114 consecutive games, which ranks him 4th all time. That's just superb.
Yeah, he's been terrific. A great job on Rory Sloane playing on the inside. We know he's got fantastic endurance term, probably more suited to playing on the outside. Who does he go after today? Maybe a Zach Jones, who's a real line breaker for the Swans. Could go to Hanbury, but I'm tipping Zach Jones.
Play 14 in a row, you've done really well. He's got 114.
He doesn't get much of the spotlight, but we've decided to give him some.
There was a bit of hype around when I played my 100th game that it was 100 in a row, and I sort of keep things really simple. There's probably 2 elements to it. There's your form warrant selection, and then physically, how do you look after yourself week to week to make sure you can back it up.
And he's landed the first blow. Sam Gibson today against Rory Sloane through the middle of the ground has been dominant.
I guess I probably found out 2 days before the game. The coaches just say we want you to play on him, and that means coming inside the contest. I'm traditionally a wingman, so that involves literally going and watching 10, 15 minutes of vision, seeing how he plays, how I can use my strengths to counter that.
He was set upon by Gibson.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think a lot of the enjoyment came because as a team, it just felt like there was 22 of us doing it. When Adelaide started possession chains and our guys were able to put enough pressure on and defend hard enough to get the ball back, makes my job easier.
Not going his way today. He's got to work through this now.
I've got a lot of respect for him as a player because he's probably not as flashy or as skillful as some of the other champions of the league. One thing I appreciate is he works as hard defensively as offensively, and you probably can't say that about all the really good midfielders.
8 is great for Buddy Franklin.
We saw on the weekend with the amount of star power they've got, they're really dangerous. Guys like Josh Kennedy's a multiple Australian, Luke Parker, Dan Hanbury, Buddy Franklin, Heath Grundy. They've got genuine stars on every line.
He has got ridiculous courage. Callum Mills.
He's courageous and goes and wins his own footy, and he was being a really good drop-off intercept defender, and now he's starting to get a bit more of the footy.
Jones got a full head of steam. Blistering stuff. The Zach attack again at the SCG.
Pace, aggression, a bit of line breaking, which is something that probably the Luke Parkers and Josh Kennedy's don't quite have that sort of pace, so he sort of complements them really well.
Big few seconds. Hanbury found again where there wasn't one.
I wouldn't describe him as ridiculously skillful, but he's just hard and tough and gets contest to contest and accumulates the footy.
And back-to-back wins for North Melbourne. Brad Scott would be extremely happy with that performance.
It's just an opportunity for us to build some momentum and try and hold theirs because they had a pretty good game on the weekend.
Term, talk us through Gibson's likely opponents today.
Well, I don't think he's going to go to the likes of Kennedy, who I think is the best midfielder. What he does, he'll go to somebody who can go into the pack, but then exits with the ball, so he can catch him on the outside, because he's a very good aerobic vest. Hanbury's a real chance to receive him. Maybe if he plays as a defensive forward against Callum Mills, but the one Jonathan I really think is Zach Jones. Zach Jones gets the ball and just doesn't bang it down the line 50 metres. He gets his full 15, maybe a bounce, taking it up to 20, and then the 55-metre kick. So he gives them 80, 90 metres on every play. Take that out of Sydney's game, and you're halfway through to stopping their ball movement.
Brownie, the Swans will be guarded against a fast start here at Etihad today after The Roos absolutely annihilated the Crows down in Tassie. If we have a look at the best ever first quarters, 8th on the all-time list.
Yeah, it was sensational. All across the board, they pressured up really well. Fantastic in the midfield. They dominated the centre bounces, and they were able to get into the forward line quickly, to especially Jared Waite, who was fantastic, and able to use that a bit of a win, but I wouldn't have called it a 10-goal win, Jonesy. Fantastic effort, predicated on that great pressure.
It was insane, wasn't it? I actually thought it was a misprint when I was watching.
Well, a big part of that first quarter blitz was Jared Waite. He kicked 6 for the match, but 3 of those in the first term, and here he is with David King.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, Jared, injury, stellar form, and then suspension. It's been a roller coaster right throughout your career, hasn't it? How do you feel about it? You get frustrated by that?
Not so much frustrated. Probably the thing I get frustrated is it gets brought up a lot. So obviously there's stuff there, but the times when I was suspended like 5 or 6 years ago, my body wasn't right. I was playing probably before I should have been playing after my knee reco, and came out wrong on the field. So, but yeah, that's in the past now. And on the weekend's game, felt like I did everything right. It's just a fine balance between if they end up being concussed, then you know you're going to go for a week or 2. And like sort of Brad said during the week, I'd rather miss 1 than 2 weeks. So yeah, not happy with the decision, but cop it and move on.
What about the learnings from last week? A fantastic first quarter. Much has been made of that. What about the learnings internally? What did the individual players learn from a Kangaroos point of view? When our pressure's up and the way we move the ball, it's as good as anyone's in the competition. So we've felt like we played some really good footy in the first half of the year, and we probably let ourselves down in finishing off games. And but we've learnt from them. So probably not so much last week. Probably the Geelong game, the Bulldogs game, and even the Fremantle game. We probably learned a lot more from those games. And it all just came into one last weekend. And we know what we have to produce, and hopefully we'll do that against the Swans. We talk a lot about forward craft. Specifically, what have you been trying to teach Ben Brown?
Yeah, Ben Brown's one of those players. He hits the ball pretty hard, and his routine's probably better than anyone that I've ever seen. So the only thing I've probably got to him is if he doesn't get the first lead, get back and just get re-engage his opponent. So, but yeah, he's a pretty capable young forward, and he's going to be very good for the club.
Mason Wood is exactly that as well. He's a star on the rise. What about him? What do you give him in terms of information?
No, Mace is, just go for his marks. Obviously, really good mark. Loves coming in from the side. So, yeah, his is more just use his legs, use his running power, and then get up and then try and get back in and take a couple of nice marks like he did last week.
I noticed Evan Goldie's getting down there. I won't ask about him because you can't educate ruckman, but what's your game day role today?
My game day role is solely just encouragement, get around the boys and get them up and about. So, yeah, that's pretty much my game day. Not too much because some of the boys are a bit touchy, so I pick and choose who I go to, but I've got my target. So,
good luck today, mate. Enjoy the game.
Cheers.
Boys, it's been a slow start to the season for North Melbourne, but 3 of their losses were under 5 points, and they've already played teams in the top part of the ladder, so perhaps things will open up from here.
It could easily be 4-3, Derm, and I watched them in round 1 against West Coast. They were very good up until half-time. Jared Waite kicked 7 points that day, so could have won that, and it's a good effort, I think, Derm, considering the amount of turnover in the off-season. 5
losses in a row, and then they scratched out the first win against Gold Coast. Got confidence out of that. Without that win, I don't believe they would have beaten Adelaide, even though they got them convincingly last week. I think that played a big part in the mentality moving forward. So they're a real shot today.
Well, perhaps Brad Scott could call on his old Lions teammate, one Jay Brown, to deliver the pre-match address, because as we can have a listen here, Brownie's got some
I've got to keep it calm,
inspirational words. Let's have a listen.
It's a big game tomorrow. It's a big game. We want to get the league back up again, and the league's fair income about this. The new players are the ones that have got the privilege of representing the bottle green. Tomorrow is the game we're concentrating on, but we need to build momentum as a league. We need to get there tomorrow. We need to clean these blokes up. We need to go there tomorrow, and we need to win the game. And we need to play with a ferocity and an intensity that shows to everyone that we are fair income about these campaigns going forward. None of this bullshit about blokes pulling out. You boys are up to this level. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting here.
Rate him out of 10, Derm. Are you inspired?
It's the night before. You got to keep it calm, though, Derm.
Yeah,
no fire and brimstone.
I know. I'm
going
to have to mark you down to an 8 because he's an echo orator. Big game tomorrow. Big game.
Big game.
He has to echo the big point.
Exactly right. It's a big room there at the Holden Centre, the auditorium. The Hen League boys have never seen anything like that.
How'd you go anyway?
Old dressing room.
How'd it work?
We got up. In trouble at 3/4 time during night.
So the pre-match speech the night before didn't help?
Oh, no, well, it didn't help our goal kicking, but 3/4 time I had to drop a few more obscenities just to fire them up a bit, Derm. They came out and delivered. It was a great win against the South East League.
Well, you can see a little bit more of Brownie's coaching and Brownie's speech on Bounce after the footy tonight. And Brownie, I believe your coaching philosophy is at odds with some of the philosophies of Spud.
Yeah, Spud gets a clip. Don't worry about that.
Cannot wait to watch that. All right, let's check in with Matthew Campbell from Crown Bet to get all the latest odds for this match between North Melbourne and Sydney.
Thanks, Sarah. Just the 3 wins between them, but I've been waiting all weekend for this match. I think it'll be an absolute beauty. Let's get to the betting. And the Kangaroos are just holding sway here in the market, given it's their home ground, but we know the Swans play Etihad Stadium very well. If you're not sure, you can have a crack at the try bet. The Kangaroos to win by over 15.5, $2.65. The Swans to win by over 15.5, $3.05. Or if you're not sure, in the middle, either team under 15.5, a close game pays $2.50. You can get all the odds at crownbet.com.au and please gamble responsibly.
Buddy, can he go for one of his trademark runs? He's going to go for an absolute monster. Call it 80 metres, bud. You need the bounce, the goal! Comfortable moment, got a little more sticky. Buddy's going to stroll in for his 4th. Calamity for the Lions, but Buddy's got 4. But he still wants it. He gives it to him. Hands it off. 5, yes! High five! What a way to finish off. Here he goes. He winds up Buddy. 8 or not? Yes! 8 is great for Buddy Franklin.
There are not many better things in footy than seeing Big Buddy in full flight. Brownie and North's backline vulnerable today.
Well, I'm not sure. Certainly Robbie Tarrant was very good on Taylor Walker last week, so I'd expect that to be the matchup. Scotty Thompson did a good job on Josh Jenkins, but as we know, a lot of the time it comes down to the midfield supply, doesn't it, Derm? But that's impressive. That's what separates Lance Franklin from the rest of the crowd, his ability to kick goals from outside 50. Not always from set shots, often on the run.
In fact, set shots, he's not all that good, Jonathan, but from outside 50, incredible. We're seeing those types of stats and those types of range kicking. He's going to walk straight into Hall of Fame when he finishes it with minimum requirement 3 years.
Welcome to David King. You want to talk about Ben Brown and his impact for North?
I do, and I want the boys to give their evaluation as well. I think he's the best leader at a ball carry in the competition right now, right up there with Josh Kennedy from the West Coast. Just have a look how he makes a decision to go straight at the ball carrier. We see it time and time again. I think this is the impact that Jared Waite's had on me as well, Derm. He makes it easier for the kicker. He elevates, he takes the ball at the earliest point, whether it's jumping or just those hands out in front. I love the way he's playing. Top 7 in the competition for marks inside 50. And when he gets it, it goes on the scoreboard, as you can see there from his conversion's unbelievable, isn't it?
That's good. That's around 75% or so, 3 out of every 4. But I love, as you call it, he's straight, which doesn't supply a lot of tricks to the opposition on the lead, but he's got that huge extension with those long arms. You've got to have a 6'7" bloke to be able to reach close to the ball to score.
Brownie, he actually leaves a real hole in behind. That's something that makes the forward line function.
He does. He leaves a real vacuum, King. And you love forwards that are decisive with their movements and they lead at the ball carrier. Not laterally, especially inside 50. They lead at the ball carrier because it opens up the forward line for teammates to lead into it. As we know, quite often balls just slip over the top of those key forward and you can take a mark if you run into that hole behind them.
He's a chance today to kick a bag, Ben Brown. When you look at the Sydney defence, that's the one type of player that they are vulnerable to, that hard leading, straight leading forward. But his kicking action, we want a split screen, Derm, and have a little look and compare it to, you can see his first game around 2014. Not a lot's changed. It's a wonderful action, isn't it?
Well, look, it's not the action you or I would kick at goals with, Jonathan, but what it is there's nothing wrong with it. But the repetition is there. And if you do the same thing each and every time, if you miss, you know what to go back to. You know, you can analyse it inside and go, right, I missed because I aimed up there. I didn't take into effect the wind, not that there's any here. But you can work out why you missed if you have the same action replicated each and every time.
What I like about it, he runs pretty straight, King, but he looks like he's minimised that up and down movement as he's walking in. So he's a little bit stiller, but there's still some looseness in the hands or the arms, which is a great sign. When you see a player really tense in their arms, normally they're feeling the pressure. I think it's a really good they don't strangle it. That's a good balance, I think, King.
I think it's fair to say that Sydney's start to the season has been one of the shocks of the year. No one expected this start from last year's beaten grand finalists. Kingy, the question remains, can they rally in time to make September?
Well, let's have a look at their draw. It's a disaster crystal balling when you do tipping it at this stage, but this is how tough their run actually becomes. In green, we've gone, they're the home games. We're going to give them the home games at the SCG, which gives them another 7 wins term. That takes them to 8. You can see the games that'll come up in red. We've given them 3 losses, which is Adelaide and Adelaide, Geelong and Geelong, and GWS at Spotless. The ones in blue become the critical ones. If they're to get to that 13 win mark, they're going to have to get on some sort of run. And that includes St Kilda, the Kangaroos today, St Kilda next week, Richmond in a few weeks, Melbourne 3 weeks after that, and then Hawthorn again at the MCG. So it's tough. There's no doubt about that. They're going to have to win the next 8, which is a huge stretch, but today is critical to keep the momentum in their charge.
12 won't do it for them because their percentage where it is now, they're going to need probably in there 3 wins of 100 points plus to get their percentage back up. We called it we're all surprised. When you look through players used, they've used 35, the most in the comp by far.
Yeah, and when you look at what Kingy just went through, it just makes today's match even more crucial for Sydney to really get things moving. Yeah. Well, as always, we've got a huge week on Fox Footy coming up, including Tuesday's open mic where former D Daniel Ward opens up about his gambling addiction.
When you're punting, there's a mask on. Yeah. Have you got this capacity to lie to people and just look them in the eye?
Your automatic reaction, maybe, I'm not sure whether it was a day or so that I might have reacted and lied and said that I wasn't, because that's your automatic reaction as a gambler. Unfortunately, you're a liar and not a nice person. So, but in the end, when the question was asked, I put my hand up and said that I'd been doing the wrong thing again, and that I needed to get some help.
Welcome to Etihad Stadium on a beautiful Melbourne night as North Melbourne and the Sydney Swans do battle on a Mother's Day match as I welcome Dermot Brereton, a 5-time premiership player with the Hawthorn Football Club. The Swans, their worst start in 24 years, but they really need to get going, and we think they can do it.
Yeah, there's reasons for that. They've used 35 players this season, the most in the league by far, but they just showed some really good signs. It was weak opposition against the Brisbane Lions, but they showed some really, really good signs.
One of the biggest questions whenever Sydney plays is how do you stop Lance Franklin? And that's even more pertinent after an 8-goal haul last week.
Yeah, what you want is somebody who's really big, can run like the wind, is very close checking and knows their football inside out. They don't grow on trees. In fact, I haven't seen one of those yet.
And Zach Jones isn't the biggest name in the Sydney Swans lineup, but he is fast showing he is one of the most important. He's so crucial today.
David King handed me the stat sheet on him just a few seconds ago. 27 disposals last week. That's a personal best for him. He had 13 contested possessions, 6 clearances. That is the best game of footy he has played for this club.
Incredibly important too for the Swans to keep him beyond this year.
Well, the thing is, they've got so many wonderful clearance players who play on the inside of the pack. Occasionally, like Hanbury, can start inside, get to the outside, but they don't have express pace. Zach Jones has line-breaking pace. They need him for their future.
North Melbourne have endured a tough start to the year. We know they are rebuilding after parting ways with some of their more experienced players last year. They've won their past 2. That great win over the Adelaide Crows gives them momentum and confidence.
Certainly does. I mean, they got the Gold Coast the week before. That gave them a little bit of confidence. Last week, they come out and knock over the Kingpins. So now they believe. They say, all right, we're through this babyhood area of our rebuild, and they start to really believe that they can knock over anyone.
Do they dare to dream that finals are a possibility, even though perhaps externally most people didn't think that was going to happen in 2017?
That's the whole thing about this caper. You dare to dream. You dare to dream. You're not out here to make up the numbers. Anytime you're out on the ground, you actually have a go at winning. I'm saying good day to the big Russian, a former champion out there with North Melbourne as he goes by. But you dare to dream.
All right, well, let's go now to Jonathan Brown, who has the North Melbourne coach Brad Scott with him.
Yeah, down there with my old premiership teammate Brad Scott. What's the North game style today, mate? What's the plan?
Well, look, Sydney are back in form. I mean, clearly they've got the majority of their good players back now, and you know, that midfield that has been so good for them for so long, with the addition of probably Callum Mills and Isaac Heaney. You know, it's going to be a tough inside battle, so clearly that's going to be not necessarily where the game's won and lost, but it's going to be a big factor. So hard and tough on the inside is going to be important.
Obviously disappointing to lose Jared Waite. How does the North Melbourne forward line function without him today?
Yeah, well, we've brought Sam Durden in, who can play both ends, so I think that's a real strength for us. And
don't trip over here, mate.
Well, I usually run up here, mate. So, yeah, so I think Durden and Hanson probably combination of forward and back, depending on what Sydney throw at us. So Waite is an important player, but you know, he's just one member of a pretty well-functioning forward line last week.
Now, do you use Sam Gibson again in a hard tag? He done the job on Roy Sloane last week.
Yeah, he was fantastic last week. Like, he'll play a combination of midfield, so a little bit wing, a little bit inside, and you know, we're just going to have to monitor Sydney's inside mids and see how they're going, and it'll be a combination of their good players, I would have thought.
Beautiful. All the best today, Scotty. Over to you, King.
Well, the big question mark is whether Kangaroos can defend a tough Sydney Swans midfield. They haven't been great all year defensively. As we have a look at their pressure numbers, they give a great guide as to where the Kangaroos sit and what is success to the Kangaroos. Run down, chase down tackles have been the feature this year. Marley Williams has brought that on multiple occasions. We're going to highlight a couple. One run down chase against Fremantle Dockers, which probably should have got them the win that night. He did also harass like a little Jack Russell, Gary Ablett, and turn the tables that night, and it's become infectious at the Kangaroos. The forward line have now taken hold. Kane Turner got involved and has actually played a part against the Crows last week. You can see the numbers there. 180 is the AFL benchmark for pressuring. The Kangaroos have only achieved that twice. 186 in round 3 against GWS, and last week a personal best up over 200. They can do it. They're the best tackling team in the competition, averaging 8 more than their opponents on a weekly basis. We need to see it today. If they don't bring the heat today, Sarah, they won't get the job done against the Swans.
Thanks, Kingy. We're certainly looking forward to this game on what is a really special day for all the mums out there. We hope you've been thoroughly spoiled by your children, and let's have a look now at some of the players from today's big game paying tribute to their mums.
Happy Mother's Day, Mum. Just want to thank you for all the time and effort you put in to help me get to where I am in my career, and especially all those Sundays when we're under 10s and 12s standing down there in the Wodonga footy oval, nice and freezing cold.
Hi, Mum. Thanks for putting up with all my moody behaviour over the years. I really appreciate it. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks for always cleaning my room and making my bed and never asking me to. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks for the support over the years, especially driving me up and down the freeway. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks so much for everything you did for us when we were younger, particularly me with 6 boys running around to sporting events all week. It was obviously a massive effort, so thanks very much for that.
Hey, Mum, just want to thank you for everything you've done. Thanks for the height. Thanks for feeding me. Thanks for the good-looking jeans. Happy Mother's Day.
Welcome back to Etihad Stadium. A famous name at Arden Street is Alan Aylett. Dr. Alan Aylett, former North Melbourne president, former VFL president, and hasn't been enjoying the best of health in recent times. He's there with his wife, Marge, on the right. But a wonderful player and a wonderful president. We wish him well, and we certainly hope he recuperates. The toss of the coin, and it has been won by Josh Kennedy of Sydney. So just the one late change. Oliver Florent is out of the Sydney lineup. Nick Newman comes in for his 6th game of his career and the season. And a critical game for both sides as we go down to the boundary line once again and join Brownie and Kingy, boys.
Thanks, Andy. Well, it was an amazing first quarter last week by the Kangaroos. Haven't seen them do that for a long time, Brownie. 8th best first quarter in the history of the game. 10 goals for.
Oh, you would have been excited when you're King. Hey, the forwards had plenty of service, didn't they? 20-odd inside 50s, King, and only 4 for Adelaide.
at 28. In fact, Brownie, and they had 8 goal kickers. Jared Waite lit them up with 3.
Yeah.
Can Dumont and Turner do that again today? That's the question mark.
Well, that is the big question mark, but it comes down to that tackling pressure. Those boys have got to apply the pressure, and obviously the midfield needs to start there as well.
They'll do it, Sandy. They'll do it today.
Oh, you're pumped, Kingy. You're pumped. Good to see. And as we've said, a win today, so important for both sides, particularly for North. You look ahead, they've got Melbourne, Carlton and Richmond to come before the bye. Sydney, on the other hand, with just that 1 win so far, have St Kilda and Hawthorn, then the bye, but then out of the bye, they've got the Western Bulldogs. So a big, big challenge for both sides. That man could hold the key. Buddy Franklin, 8 last week, back to his brilliant best. Cunnington is the king of the engine room as far as North is concerned, with Jack Zeeble, and hoping to get a nice ride from Todd Goldstein. So just about set to go as round 8 draws towards its conclusion. It is North Melbourne and Sydney here at Etihad, and here's Anthony Hudson.
Thank you, Sandy. Yes, good afternoon, everyone, and we are into it with a perfect bounce. Naismith and Goldstein both went up and came down before the ball arrived. Cunnington just sending it North's way. Marshall trying to respond under some duress from Anderson. I think they're both happy enough to see it over and out. A little bit of niggle early stages. Tim McBrereton, who you're selecting in this twilight clash?
Well, I saw Sydney last week. Having said that, I only saw North Melbourne on replay. They were both pretty well performed, but Sydney have runs on the board long term to suggest that if they get their game going, they know what they're doing and they will be able to win. But you could just as easily swing it the other way as David King has.
Some very important players got hands on ball there. But it doesn't amount to much yet. Atley caught up in the swing of it all. Little handball back from Vickers-Willis. Zeeble was under siege. Good early pressure, but countered by Thompson. Gets it to Gibson. Fires them inside 50. Hanson comes out. Mason Wood flicking it around and gets it again himself. Atley, still it stays alive. Lots of smothers, hard to get clean possession. Ooh. Kennedy, Parker certainly found that out the hard way. Kennedy goes again, and Heaney off the left boot, and this time better control, and they've got it to Sam Reid on the wing.
Look, not going anywhere too quickly at the moment on the either side of the ground. Williams is at the back. There's a free kick for holding, and it's going to go the way of the Swans. So finally, some movement deep. Tarrant giving away the free kick, and Buddy Franklin
chance
getting his first opportunity, definite opportunity. 75 out, but long, flat and low in towards the pocket, spearing pass. No one able to take it cleanly. Vickers-Willis gets the hand pass over the top. Ruse running it out through Dumont, gets it off to the smooth running Higgins. Higgins has the opportunity to bounce his way clear. Penetrating hand pass to Goldstein. The big man like a general in the middle of the ground, gets it across to Thompson. He goes back once again to what Marley Williams, run all the way down in towards full forward. Turner is clean bowled. Advantage going to be paid? No. But it is going downfield, so it'll be inside 50.
Watch where the ball bounces. It's quite short. Skip through. I reckon they've given him an extra 2-3 metres on that because the bounce came in as a skimmer.
Kane Turner, an opportunity to give North Melbourne a flying start, and he is a goal kicker. Hasn't missed a game to date this season. He's booted 10 goals. Kicking from 42 metres. Starting at left, and that's where it stays. So a missed opportunity for Kane Turner at the first score on the board, going to the Kangas.
Newman, who was the late inclusion, takes the mark. You've noticed already Lockie Hanson playing forward in the absence of Jared Waite. There's a good, strong grab down the line from Callum Sinclair. Reid holds his ground, allows the space for Newman to keep on coming. Averaging 19 disposals in his 4 games, and he's looked quite at home at senior level. He's forced to go back to the Neefel, but has done that, and now we've got Kennedy servicing Sam Reid. He hasn't kicked a goal for 3 weeks, but has certainly, it's just great that he's been out and had some consistent footy so far this year. He's managed 11 goals, 3.
Gee, I think it's Durden on the mark. Gee, fell off the back of that lead. Gave up on the lead, in fact, in the end.
So Reid to give Sydney a strong start, and that's an excellent kick. It was never going to miss. First goal to the Swans.
You're right, Dermot, was Durden.
Always a confidence builder early on. Derby, you can strike one like that for Sam Reid, and we know he's just trying to work his way back into some good form after a long run of injuries. And this is always a great indicator for a key forward's, or a great projection for a key forward's performance during the day if they can strike one like this, Derby.
What is a concern for me if I'm North Melbourne? There were 4 short, straight kicks ahead that were lead-up targets in a row.
So Sam Reid gets the first goal of the day.
Thanks, boys. Come on. Okay. Come on.
Very straight lines, that approach, from back line around the boundary, just short hit-up leads, and ended up in a mark on the lead and goal.
Goldstein won it initially. Now it's Kennedy who takes it out of the middle for Sydney up towards the half-forward line. Standing his ground is Thompson. Takes a courageous mark.
Play on. Line.
Thompson going laterally towards Tarrant. So out of the danger zone for the moment. Up towards Goldstein on centre wing, but outmarked on this occasion. And an excellent grab. Back towards Cunnington, however, who chops it off. Poor disposal. Cunnington, equally as poor, goes wide. Was going for Brown, far too wide, and out of bounds.
Come back, Ben Brown. Coming. Yep. Play on.
On the full. So Sydney are able to bring it back. And that's a poor kick as well. Very, very untidy. Rovat might make them pay. But he too pulls it to the left, and another behind goes on the ball.
Check that footy, Sandy. It's unbelievable early on. There's been some rusty kicks. Rovat was very good last week.
Lloyd back into play. Short to Mills. Callum Mills at half-back.
And he goes short to Heaney.
2 metres, back 2.
It's been a bit of that around today, even in the game at the MCG. Some of the skills, decision-making wasn't great, particularly early. The fist comes from Higgins. And now Newman, but if we get a finish like they did at the G, we won't be complaining, Brownie.
Exactly right. Certainly Ross Lyon's not complaining, that's for sure. And the roof is closed, so there is no excuse, Hunter.
Let's get down to David King for the first time since action has begun. Kingy.
We've got Dan Hannaby on the bench here trying to get back onto the ground. It'll be the only time today you've seen without Sam Gibson side by side. Their designated role today.
As we know, Gibson's so effective with that on Rory Sloane. The tagger is back in AFL footy. We're going to have a ball up.
Sam and Todd. Sam, keep the meter, please.
Zeeble waiting at the feet of Goldstein. Hewitt beat him to the punch, but Zeeble quick to wrap it around and strip him with the footy. Higgins, such a pivotal player for North. Good stern, staunch defence from Newman. Back out to the wing. Reid outnumbered, but not outplayed. To Kennedy, and Hayward, a vacant 50, has to kick it into space and hope that can be filled by a teammate, and it is. Good running from Dean Towers.
When that ball was on the wing and it was in, I suppose, up for grabs, it was interesting to watch the methodology of the two teams. North Melbourne still had 6 forwards definitively playing as forwards, and all of the Sydney Swans 6 forwards were all minimum 80 metres outside of their goal square. So they're going to play the rush in.
Yep.
And North are trying to anchor the Sydney backmen.
Just kicked a 1 goal so far this year. Only a couple of games he's played. He was back in the team last week. Dean Towers had 20 disposals on his return. And as you can see, astray with that kick. So the poor kicking, other than Sam Reid, continues.
McMillan to bring it back into play. And he does so for the Kangaroos, finding Dumont from the back pocket. He looks down the line.
Bit on, play on.
And that's where he heads. Wood is a flyer at the front. A number of players waiting at the back. Pushed wide. McVeigh chasing, so too Hannaby. And it's the latter who gets there first. Just pops the handball over the top. Dangerously so, gets it back. They might get out of strife yet. Sydney running the ball clear. Close to the boundary line is Hewitt. Short, but that's okay. Papley in towards full forward. Towers again, can he get clear? Nobody gets the hand pass across towards Reid. Reid to Cunningham. Cunningham bounces in towards full forward, but only as far as Marley Williams.
Play on.
Williams short again. And again, finding Clark. Ryan Clark goes longer up towards the wing. Manson was at the back, let the hand pass away. McDonald, little chip that is going to be intercepted here. An opportunity now for Parker, twisting and turning and caught. Ripping tackle by Luke McDonald.
Yeah, Brad's got to be happy with this. It's how they dominated Adelaide Crows last week. So obviously the talk during the week at Arden Street would have been to continue on with his tackling pressure, back it up.
Slightly slower start for the Kangas from last week, and they piled on 10-4 to nothing.
They had about 6 goals by now last week, and the opposition hadn't scored.
Now, Lockie Hansen was on the mark then. He's been targeted up 3 times as a forward, and each time he's been unable to get his hands on the foot. You've got to get better representation than that.
Zach Jones goes short to Buddy Franklin, who's got a free kick.
There's a big matchup too, Sandy. Robbie Tarrant on Buddy after shutting down Taylor Walker last week.
Yeah, he did a good job, didn't he? Very good job. But Buddy is something else again. He's not in the vicinity at the moment as they go down towards the forward line. Hayward is at the back, but the boundary line will beat him when we've got a throw in.
Right, and your end zone. Nominate play, Shan. Time. Thank you.
So definite direct matchup there. Oh, Robbie Tarrant and Sinclair going at it, just down on the bench as Tarrant was running off and Sinclair running onto the ground.
Well, they targeted each other.
Yeah, they did. Went straight for each other there.
Hasn't done his homework because Robbie Tarrant can go a bit.
Gibson out towards the line. Clark kept it in. Williams. McMillan likewise shut down. Hewitt digs it out. Hanbury flicks the handball to Hayward. That's incorrect disposal.
Been quite clever in his opening few games of his career this season, young Hayward, but that was just a little bit off the tempo.
He certainly knows his way around goal, but
Go back behind.
I wasn't expecting that.
Thank you. Hold there. Hold.
Excellent tackle. He too is finding his way in AFL footy, but looks pretty accomplished.
It was amazing. If his head had hit the ground then, he might have been in trouble, Vickers Willis.
It's his 4th game. In the scramble. Could go any way, and it could go to the running man. Jones running, gunning, going. He's hot right now, Zach Jones.
Pulls away from the pack.
Well, let's have a look at this. Like Dermy just said, let's watch him pull away. Zach Jones, his man Jamont gets dragged into the contest, gets sucked into the ball. Look at that, going forward. Jones just holds out the back. Got to be really careful, these North Melbourne players, getting all sucked into the contest. They've got some good inside men. They don't need 4 or 5 at the contest. They'd be disappointed at that.
Positive start for Sydney, and Zach Jones in just his 40th game really settled into the midfield. So the Kangas needing a score here.
Play on.
Goldstein to Cunnington, gets it away quickly. They bounce it down towards half forward. Turner waits underneath. Heaney comes over the top. McDonald tries to go through. He's claimed by Kennedy, and he's been pinged for holding the ball.
Sydney. Josh Kennedy. Thank you.
Simpkin it was who got caught. Now he goes short. That's going to be okay.
Hold there, stay short.
Newman in the side, coming in for Florent. Gets it down to Towers, who looks towards Heaney. Now got to get his skates on. Papley is there. Almost ran into Cunnington before the ball finished over the line.
Just too late with the release there, Towers, because Heaney had actually made pretty good position before Cunnington was able to get on the scene.
It gave Cunnington a chance, didn't it, just to be able to look back at the ball.
Kennedy jostling with Cunnington. Goldstein doing the work from behind. Kennedy again trying to snare it from the back. Can't do anything. Parker got it out. Tried to just virtually hand it to a teammate who gets caught. Tough in the clinches there. Bent around. That could be a miraculous goal. Was it Parker? A sensational kick for goal. Tight angle. High ball and a lot of hope, and he's got it.
Didn't do a lot wrong here, Derm. The North Melbourne players, you see Turner comes down to pick up Heaney. Just got a couple out the back, but Parker won that from inside. Not a hell of a lot they can do in there. They just need to be able to win the first hands. Great effort there by Parker over the top. Dangerous man in those 450 stops this far.
His 4th goal of the year, Luke Parker.
Lost his man by going into the centre of the pack and then exiting out the back, and the ball found its way back to him. He's just so powerful through the quads, being able to hook it that high under that much pressure.
Tap down beautifully from Sinclair to Kennedy to the outside from Hanbury. Sinclair followed it on. Buddy's lurking, but he went to Reed instead. Bud wants it, and what Bud wants, Bud gets. He didn't expect that, but he's got it high. He's unlucky there, Tarrant. His first tackle was outstanding, and then it just went up.
He is not without a chance here.
He's had a warm-up pass, so you wouldn't expect him to try that again. North fans voicing their disapproval.
He's probably glad that this is a real slow play now, because he might be obligated to have a shot. It's going to have to go 60 to 65 on the fly to clear the line.
It's faded late. There's a whistle.
There's a whistle.
He's going to get another go at it.
Swans player come across the mark there and try to put a block on Robbie Tarrant. He's out of sighter now.
That was Jakey Lloyd, was it, Kingy?
Certainly was. Smart play to try and give Buddy that extra couple of metres, but he was a fraction early.
I don't understand, though, why you get a re-kick. Why isn't that just a free kick against you?
I'm absolutely with you on that. Buddy goes for a pass this time. And he climaxes. He went short. And he'll learn from that. That's just crazy stuff.
I agree with you, Jonathan, but does he get 2 kicks in the stat sheet?
No, I don't think so, Joe.
Watch these two, Troy. Yeah, got him.
Yeah, he's come up to the mark.
He's breaking AFL rules there to do that. So why as a team, do you get another go at it?
Correct.
Throw in on the outer side. Goldstein with the left hand, trying to get it down to Cunnington. Unsuccessful. Jones almost had it. Higgins does. Sweeps it wide, and the Kangas out of trouble, but they need a score. They've just got the 2 behinds on the board in this first term. Turner now. 50 metres out, centering ball. It's got to be good. But, playing in front is Callum Mills, and he takes a timely mark.
Well, Jared McVeigh recognised his lack of pace then and just took the short avenue down the middle of the ground against Simpkin rather than trying to chase the footsteps, and just gave Simpkin a real easy shot into the centre of the ground.
Heaney to Jones. Short.
This is an interesting part of Sydney's game today, Sandy, because they're ranked 18th in the comp the last 4 weeks with their kicking efficiency. It's a real area that has dropped off in Sydney Swans game in 2017.
And David King, after that chase by Jared McVeigh, he's come straight to the bench.
He needs some oxygen, I think. He recognises what happened to him, and the Kangaroos have got to maximise that when he comes back on the field.
Absolutely. He's just off the bit at the moment.
Towers short to Reed. He's got it at half back.
Move it on. Play on.
Call to move it on now. And again, the pass is a poor one, putting his teammate Newman under pressure. Had to beat a couple of them. Eventually socket. Clean bowls, Buddy. Thank you, says Tarrant, and he's away. Gives it off to McMillan. Nice little turn. Back to Tarrant. They're out of strife. Dumont. Down the line, over centre wing, up towards the half-forward line. Again, to a vacant area for the moment. Mills is at the back. Spears the pass, finds his skipper. Kennedy marks on half-back. Gives a little ground now to Grundy. Could go to Lloyd or short to Hanbury. He chooses the latter.
See the movement he's giving. North Melbourne are getting none of that type of movement. It's more mark, kick, try and spot up a mark from their half-back line.
Towers to Kennedy. Oh, he put Hanbury under the hammer there. And he may lose it. Cunnington could have been taken high, although he did duck. Mills cops a heavy one. And he's going to get a free kick.
An important contest early by Callum Mills. He's received a fair bit of pressure from opposition in the past few weeks, but standing up well.
Not sure Lockie Hansen had a lot to complain about there. Sydney control the ball again. Heaney takes the mark from the Newman pass. Newman started well, 9 disposals. Jones already with a goal.
Not playing that smart to Lockie Hansen. The one thing he can do is mark, and they keep missing him with the ball.
Franklin. Reed. Vickers-Willis was able to match him for long enough.
Jared McVeigh's just getting some work done on the glutes and the lower back at the moment, so maybe he felt some tightness to him and just didn't want to overextend and re-injure. And Simpkin, it's been a bad couple of minutes for that pairing. He's getting some work done the shoulder after trying to be physical across half forward. Not really his go at his age.
Not surprised. It was a heavy clash.
Well, one can run, and the other can't lift his arms now.
Cunnington surrounded, and Hewitt emerged with a footy. Could have been another Sydney goal.
Let's have a look at the Simpkin contact here. That's I've talked about that recent days, and that is players who are not very good players, but maybe not ready just yet for the rigours of league footy. We're throwing these kids in there, and their bodies just aren't capable of bumping up even at their choice.
Kangaroos gradually getting the ball down towards centre wing, and Jack Zeeble swings out of one tackle into another by Marsh, but gets rid of the footy up towards half forward. Turner is there in opposition to Smith. Turner goes again. Dumont is there as well. Kennedy comes in with strength. He gets it out towards Hayward, loses it to Zeeble. It's tough in the clinches at the moment. Parker over the top, tries to get it out.
See, that's got to be holding the ball.
Yeah, Troy's free.
Yeah, Troy was... he didn't have a great view, but he's holding the ball one arm and flailing it around, but would not try and let it go.
Attlee, the man at the bottom of the pack. Gibson now takes it from Zeeble. 53 metres out, coming back. Hasn't got the distance, however, and the Swans have the defence, led by young Callum Mills. But going nowhere.
How good was Jack Zeeble's hand pass to the outside of the pack on that stoppage? Extraordinary. It was, in fact, it wasn't extraordinary. It was just brilliant. Wonderful piece of play by the captain.
You love this fella, what he brings to the table for North Melbourne. Kane Turner, ferocious tackling. It's only slight of build, but geez, he has a crack.
A goal kicker. That's his 11th for the season, and he's wrapped because the Roos have got there first.
They need to get on the board, Jonathan, because Sydney are outplaying him here, and I think that even to the tune of 12 points, but more than that. You look at this game without knowledge of the scoreboard, you'd say that they're not all over him, but got them comfortably.
They're winning around the contest, don't they, Derm? They're 28-21 contested possession. That's always a really good indicator, but just like North that last couple of minutes there, they're able to apply better pressure and win the ball of the contest.
John Longmire provided a few extra special comments there as he watched that one. 3-2-20 to 1-2-8. Newman doing some restoration work. As Kennedy got into the clear, but the kick certainly favoured Tarrant.
Well done there by Buddy. Buddy tried to double in behind him, Hutto. Double in behind Robbie Tarrant, but Tarrant just decided to let Franklin go and go for the mark himself. That's a defender full of confidence.
McMillan, that famous number 34 for North Melbourne, driving along the wing, finding Rovat, eyeing off a teammate on the wing, and that's Anderson. Goldstein's pushed forward for North. Brown will be the link, takes it and turns.
Hanson's got to get busy.
Goldie's got it. Hanson was in the mix, but Goldstein came out, takes the grab. Kennedy shakes his head.
I tend to think that he actually spotted that, Hanson, on that occasion, and Goldie, the ruckman, normally goes to the top of the square and says, if you put it there, I'll bring it down at least in front. But he read that kick going to Hanson, intercepted on the lead.
6 goals in 6 games this year for Todd Goldstein. Now would be a good time for another. And he puts it through. North have kicked a couple of quick ones, which changes this game.
It was a terrific performance, and it all started by Robbie Tarrant. I thought it was great defensive craft, wasn't it?
Watch the ball.
We just see, he watched the ball, he went for it, backed himself and took the mark, and was able to start the flow of play, which resulted in this. Benny Brown, a great decision. He got back from the mark quickly, and he just put it to the advantage side of Goldstein and allowed him to run into it. Well done there by the big man. He's got to contribute on the scoreboard today.
Such a good goal from Todd Goldstein. He put his hand in the SA, kick it to the top of the goal square, got kicked out in front, but Callum Sinclair on ball at that stage has to go back with him.
Oh, look at that tap then from Goldstein to Cunnington. A 12-point ball game, under 5 minutes remaining. Mills has a problem. Caught by Attlee. Trying to get it out was Anderson. Kanga's in with a chance again. Right on the last line of defence, smashed over by Melican.
That's a little lack of confidence there, young Melican there. Lewis Melican playing his 4th game. The great defenders just take those and then work out where they're going to put it, but he opted for safety first.
Jake Lloyd short to Grundy, back to Lloyd, who kicks into the man on the mark. Hanson picks up the footy now. An opportunity for the Kangas once again. Higgins was there, so too Williams. It goes to Marley Williams, centering kick. Big pack of players, but waiting at the back and snaring the mark is little Robat. Smallest man in and around that pack, and he took the mark.
I think it was Nick Newman, who is another debutant this year for the Swans. We get a look in the screen here. Just hips him away from the drop zone. Newman, a very good kicker of the footy, playing his 5th game, I think Newman is tonight. Late inclusion at the expense of Ollie Florent. 6 game 6 this time.
Rovat to bring them to within a kick, and he does. An excellent fight back by the Kangas late in this first term. Rovat has his first, his 6th for the season, and North Melbourne just 3 goals 3, and Sydney 3-2.
He's steaming the horse.
Well, that was a pretty soft bump away, and it's a terrible kick. Terrible kick, but that's error number 1, that kick. Error number 2 is this is pretty soft, just watching the ball. This is league footy. You can't let blokes just run you off the line like that.
What a change in this game. They've kicked the last 3 goals and really started to dominate. They have the lead. Swans trying to change that in the last 3 minutes of the opening quarter from Etihad. Sinclair gets a chance to hit up Buddy. Not quite. It's a Sydney free.
Could you imagine how many goals Lance Franklin would kick if he grabbed those types of marks over his... How is he played now? 250 odd.
Towers to Heaney.
It'd be unfair though. It was
Do
a
everything.
great overhead mark, wouldn't it, Derm?
That means he legitimately could do everything.
2 goals in 3 games so far this year, Isaac Heaney. Making a big difference last week. McVeigh back out on the ground. Heaney, 22 disposals and 7 clearances last week. 5 tackles. Now he needs to be a goal kicker. And he's nursed it home.
Clearance goal.
Yeah, needed that definitely. They were able to win around the contest, Derm, for the last 5 minutes. Last 5 minutes, North have been able to get on top of it. Let's just have a look at the drop here. One area of the game's been critical. He got a bit of a knock there.
Could have marked it on the chest.
Could have marked it on the way down. He did all the hard work. But
if he works out of Browning, you think he can be a player?
Well, I tell you what, if he was a great overhead mark, I'd say he'd be challenging my old coach as the greatest player of all time.
Sydney back with a 5-point lead, just a couple of minutes remaining in this opening stanza. After a shot clear, North bouncing back, and it's going to be Papley with a big punt up towards full forward once again. Buddy was doing the roving work. Couldn't quite get in the right spot at the right time, however. McVeigh, good tackle, holds the ball up. Trying to get through was McMillan. McVeigh goes again. Kennedy there as well. No one able to get cleanly away, and we'll have a stoppage. No, they're going to let it go. Zeeble gets the opportunity to get it out to Goldstein. Papley in the thick of things once again. Towers also comes wide in towards the pocket. Newman get the hand pass clear. Back to Kennedy. Centering ball, gives a little ground, gives a lot of ground. Hanbury, he's on the right boot. That's the left. He swings it back and he kicks a beauty. Hanbury gets his first goal, and Sydney, as if waking from a slight doze, back with back-to-back goals. Derm.
Just watch this one here. For a half step, Gibson goes to the right foot. He just gets pushed under it a bit and probably looked like he was going to go to the right foot, but Hanbury breaking on that left just completely threw him there. And gave, well, they were shoulder to shoulder when that ball was in the air. Clever play.
Yeah, have a look at this. A bit of niggle in the goal square as well. Young Isaac Heaney against Scott Thompson, who is one of the great nigglers in the competition. Don't worry about that. I know that firsthand.
I was going to say, shocked to see Scotty Thompson involved in something like that.
Oh,
Heaney, brilliant hands. And it freed up Hewitt to centre half forward. Vickers Willis against McVeigh.
There's an issue there.
Gets the handball back and path opened up for Thompson.
There's an issue there, Hutto. You don't play Jared Bay forward if he's fit.
I think you're right.
So he's on now just to, I reckon, get him through a bit of game time and keep the rotation so they don't run out of legs in the second half. But he is obviously suffering at the moment.
And so is Simpkin, boys. He's still on the bench from that clash on the left shoulder earlier in the game. So a loss for the Kangaroos early in the first quarter.
Shoulder taped up. It'll be interesting to see whether he can get back out there again.
Out of screen, Reid has run to the back line to be an extra man in defence for the long ball coming in.
Well, a long ball comes in, not quite far enough for that. Zeeble down the line. Newman started the quarter well. He's had a few issues since, though. Lloyd hunted down and goes unwhistled. Eventually, they get the call they were after.
Reid plonks himself about 10 metres in front of Ben Brown. Grundy against
Hanson
Brown.
with the last kick. Reid, as Derm said, redeployed into defence, and that was effective enough. Just about get us to quarter time, barring a very quick snap at goal or a free kick from this boundary throwing. Josh Kennedy with 15 disposals in the opening term. 12 to Newman. North's highest is Zeeble with 7. So we'll wait the boundary umpire. Hanson doing the ruck work. Zach Jones as the clock ticks down, and it is quarter time, an eventful opening quarter, and it's not quite over yet, the drama, as the push and shove continues. Is it going to amount to much? We had a bit of this yesterday here.
Not really. These types of push and shoves, there's always blokes who don't really want to be in there, that know they're fairly safe if they go in there. They're just for show, these types of things now.
Settle back there, Dern.
That's it.
All right, it's quarter time, and it's Sydney 5-2-32, North Melbourne 3-3-21. Welcome back. Quarter time at Etihad Stadium. They might be down near the bottom ends of the ladder, but these two teams certainly with plenty of talent and plenty to play for in such an even season. And at first it was the Swans, then it was North, and then the Swans finished strongly. Plenty for Brad Scott to be talking about to his troops at quarter time. Let's check those scores. Sydney 5-2-32, North Melbourne 3-3-21. Get down to David King, and first of all get an injury update because there was plenty going on in that first term, Kingy.
Yeah, there certainly was from both teams, Hutto. We saw Jared McVeigh just get a fair bit of work done in that first term after chasing Jai Simpkin. You see the work done here. I think it might be a tight hamstring. He's just come back from a calf problem which dogged his pre-season. First came back last week. Not sure how he's going to cope throughout the course of this game, but I doubt we'll see them explode. There's Simpkin there. At 75 kilo, this is not recommended, Derm, as you touched on earlier in the game. I'm not sure we'll see this young kid again. He's a star of the future. You can see him there in pain. He probably hasn't had to cope with too much injury in the past, but he's back out on the field now. Great to see.
Yeah, it is great to see. Now, Derm, one area of the game I want to look at, though, is Sydney's getting their dominance in the stoppages. 2 goals to zip from the stoppage. Look at Zach Jones, dangerous player away. His man, Trent Jamont, gets sucked into the contest. See Jamont trailing in the background. You can't allow a player that's so good offensively like Zach Jones to have space out of the back of the stoppages. So that's essentially where Sydney is winning the game of football around the contest.
Great vision, that. 2 to 3 misplaced steps is a world of a difference.
So Naismith and Goldstein set to get the second quarter underway. Sydney holding sway with a couple of late goals in the first term. Naismith, the only one to get a hand to it. Parker lost the run of it, tried to push it further forward. Thrown out to Naismith. The big man gives a little ground, put his teammate under pressure. The door open for Williams, who kicks down towards the half-forward line. Simpkin it was who managed to push it down. McMillan comes over the top. There's Simpkin again, protecting that right shoulder.
Vickers-Willis, he deliberately patted that ball down to the crumbing teammate in front then.
Higgins. Too far out to score. So he centres it. Sydney have got the run of this. If the bounce is kind to Jones, it was initially. Now they're running through the middle, through Cunningham. Cunningham towards Buddy, who takes a finger tipper. He's 75 from home, but there's no one. He's got hectares to spare, and he kicks into the man on the mark. He'll spring round again. Take 2 on the left boot over the head of Towers, and a fine defensive mark is taken by Durden.
Lucky to get away with it there. There was a tremendous kick by the North Melbourne player into their forward 50. Should never drop the ball 40 metres out from goal.
Back towards the middle. Simpkin, he copped the left shoulder on that occasion. Cunnington spotted Higgins out wide, and that's who he finds. Goes over the top to Hansen, back to Higgins. Off towards Gibson. Gibson finds Goldstein. Goldie's going to go for goal, and he'll get it. Higgins is sore. Quick start for the Roos in the second term.
Great transition there, Durham, by North Melbourne. And this is their game. They want to run and gun, probably more than any other team in the competition, especially off half-back. They have a high amount of handballs, Durham. They want to keep the ball moving. It sometimes can look a little bit rushed, but it looks great when they come off like this, and a good finish, of course.
Watch this on Higgins here. Bang. Naismith, who's a big lump, just gets into him there, and he hurt him a bit. Still recovering. Great goal.
2 goals for the big ruckman.
Yeah, it's a good return so far by Goldie.
Up and crashing down there into the Etihad turf. Heaney.
Oh, might have copped a boot there, Naismith.
The good thing about Goldstein as well, Hutto, was he was able to take a mark and kick goal as a full forward while he's the resting ruckman. And obviously a nice finish then.
Yeah, a running goal from a ruckman as well,
Yeah.
you don't mind. Kennedy, outstanding opening term. Continues to amass possessions. Marsh just got away with that one barely, and did turn it over, but they're going to get it back again, and he gets involved in the link, and he's charging forward. Jones here spotted Cunningham just sneaking into the pocket, but Williams was onto that as well. A handball, and they're just going to get away with it. Gibson nurses it around the corner. Oh, Simpkins copped another one. That'll test the shoulder. Parker, no doubt, wasn't too worried as he delivers the ball to the top of the square. Cunningham again. Williams thrusting himself forward. Now Reed, the next under the pump. Was it a legal disposal? Papley, they were ready for him. Jamont latches on.
This boy's in a world of hurt, Simpkin. He's put the hand up to the boundary and said, get me out of here or do something with me. He's trying to stay out there.
Probably hurt his AC joint, hasn't he? They can sting.
Comes to Kennedy. And that's a
pretty
goal.
close.
The North fans not going up at all. His first goal, and he's had 19 disposals in this game. And he had 20 for the match last week, Josh Kennedy.
Just have a look at this. You see Kennedy, he wins this from inside, so it's not a free player outside, but just a couple of times. He had a lot of North Melbourne players standing and looking there, not really active in the stoppage, not a lot of movement, whereas you see Kennedy keeps moving, keeps on his toes. He's able to quickly release that onto his boot. This is an area that's hurting North Melbourne in around the contest, and obviously Josh Kennedy, the main man there.
Thanks, guys. Rucks in.
And look at the stats of Josh Kennedy. 15 disposals in the first quarter. That's his best for all time. And now already he's picked up 4 and a goal in the second. So back with the big men in the middle. Goldstein got fingertips to it. Naismith goes in for another crack. It's going to be a free kick going the way of the Kangas.
Play on.
And Simpkin having a spell. Well, that's hardly surprising. He was buffeted until that right arm just hung limply. So real shoulder problems for him as Hansen marks just outside 50.
15 seconds.
Should make the distance. He's got Goldstein in the square. Stammering approach, kicks from 52, but starts at left, and that's where it's going to stay. Won't quite make the distance initially. Goldstein tried to rack it out of the air, so too did Jed Anderson. Runs out of room, and it's over the line.
Sam, are you up? Sam? Ben Brown?
Looks like Jamont now trying to follow Josh Kennedy around these stoppages.
Naismith, Brown had front spot on that occasion. Heaney partly blocked by McDonald. The hand pass. Once again, another stoppage.
Plus 13 for contested possession, Sydney at the moment.
And North Melbourne are plus 10 for tackles, but as you said, they're getting beaten to the ball. That's maybe why. Oh, Jones runs into a roadblock, given a bit of latitude by the umpire. North able to control, and Anderson's kick too strong. It's following Goldie around in the forward line at the moment. Higgins comes in there, forced all the way back almost to the centre. Durden, though, sends them back inside the 50. Good weight on the ball for Hansen.
That's better. Really critical of Hansen in the first quarter. He ran and led to the kick down the line ball, Brownie, and 3 times he missed the drop of it by 1 or 2 metres. Just spectated, wasn't able to get under it. But he's got his hands on the ball, above his head twice.
Picked up the flight of the ball well then.
It's a lot better.
So obviously Malikan ran past the ball, but good identification by him early.
Ben Brown hasn't been a factor so far in this game, just the 2 disposals, so they need Hansen to carry a significant load, and he has. He's put it through. And the margin back to 5.
He's looked dangerous. He's looked dangerous all game so far. Haven't had a huge amount of inside 50s. Inside 50 count, 18-13 in Sydney's favour. That was really well done, and this is the advantage that a forward has over a defender, because he only has to watch the ball, whereas the defender has to watch the ball and his man. So you should always pick the flight of the ball up quicker than your defender. In that case, he did. Malikan kept running under the ball because he was conscious of Hansen.
The Kangaroos doing it without Jared Waite this afternoon.
Jason can...
Yeah, that's the end for him, and he looks at the sconce figure, doesn't he?
Yeah,
that'll go...
Sadly.
As we wait on another rebound. So that'll go towards... Well, the coach was talking during the week about raise the draft age to 19. There's another boy whose body's not ready. Talent-wise, he is, but his body's not ready for the rigours of running into grown men.
Sydney out of the middle through Sinclair. Now the opportunity to go even deeper towards Buddy Franklin, who's at the back. Kennedy was in front. Kennedy wants Buddy. He found him then. He gives it to Jones. May go back to Buddy, who'll swing around on the left. Away he goes from 55. Oh, touched on the line. Boy, what an excitement machine to watch when he's going.
Yeah, nearly got the goal. Just touched there. A really good effort. The North Melbourne player to get back there. Who was that? Good effort there by Sam Durden. Fantastic. But I think the Buddy might have been a bit disappointed with his captain, who ran straight into his leading space. Buddy would have taken an uncontested mark on his chest.
Durden back in the side this week. As Goldstein sets himself, had front spot. It's smashed away from him and over the line.
Oh, gee, you probably can't knock Josh Kennedy. He's got 20 disposals. It's Ricky Ponting and Peter Siddle there in the North Melbourne box. And it was Andrew Swallow and Jared Waite.
Someone's telling funny stories there.
And a quick Peter Siddle down the very front.
Yeah.
So from the throw in, Zeeble had it only for a moment. He may get it again. He goes again, but so too does Cunningham. Hewitt over the top. Parker as well. Dumont is requested to hand it over, and he does. Goldstein, flick over the back. Zeeble taken to ground. Heaney. And another throw.
I think this is a really easy game to dictate terms with. If it's a tough inside in the trenches, clearance type game, you think the Swans hold sway. As soon as it gets to the outside, it becomes a battle of ping pong, if you like, a turnover battle. That's where the Kangaroos step forward.
I'll just talk about the tag aspect in a second if this gets locked up. Now, look, I'm looking at the stats on Sean Higgins. He's had 9 possessions. He's only had the 3 kicks, and only one of those kicks has been effective. But they've only looked polished going forward when Higgins has the ball. I'd be sending, if you have a tagger, which I don't know if Sydney do, but taggers are coming into vogue in the last month or so. If they've got one, I reckon if you seize up Higgins' ability to move the ball forward with a bit of polish, you'll choke up the way they put it inside forward 50.
He's playing forward at the moment, so watching the ball go the other way. Parker was about to be confronted and realised it all. McVeigh just had to stand and cop it.
Well done, young Durden too.
It was well read by Durden. Good early decision to come in. He needed to make the decision.
What a good lad.
Bit of grunt, Derm.
Yeah, I don't think a horse will... Scotty would dislike that either.
First round pick from 2 years ago.
Sinclair reaches over to Parker. Derm, there's a bit of history. It comes out of Towers. Here's Buddy versus Tarrant in the pocket. Bounce probably helped Tarrant there. He just bundles Franklin over the line. Comes up with a wry grin and says, come on, man. Rustle of the hair. That'll upset the modern footballer more than anything.
It's been a good battle, that, between Robbie Tarrant and Buddy Franklin.
From the throw in, the wrestle in the ruck, Hewitt. Jones trying to get to a better place to have a shot, but it doesn't eventuate. Thompson, though, gives them one. Back to Reid. He tried to wade his way through, kicking straight up and down the chimney. And it's taken away by Wood. So Mason Wood drives long for Hanson. He marks in front of Melican. His eyes turn to Big Ben Brown, who comes up the ground, demands the footy. Got it now, but he dropped it. And suddenly it's a Sydney ball. Nick Smith disposed with, though, and Hewitt has handed it back to Atley. He's got pace to match and screws it to straight back to old Reg. Takes the mark across half back.
Not just Reg.
That's Mr. Grundy. To Newman. And Sydney out of trouble. Towards Kennedy's going to pick up yet another possession. Spears a pass to McVeigh. Just a little too much on it. So that opened the door for Rovat, who had it only for a moment as he tried to get it away. Kennedy goes again. Lloyd there right with him. Very, very tight to get away. And Kennedy, just through sheer persistence, gets it out to Hewitt. Hewitt goes short and he finds Hayward. Hayward spotted Reid or Buddy. Take your choice. Reid's at the back. He's got it now. Left foot snap by the big man is good. Reid gets his second. And Sydney have their seventh.
Good first half, Derm. Sam Reid, 9 disposals.
Talent got it done in the end, but that kick going to Franklin was just awful. This one coming up here. Franklin's got all the cut grass in front of him. He's done his man Tarrant. He's too quick. And he forces Franklin to stop in the lead and give Tarrant a real shot. Lucky that Reid, as a big fella, was able to snap truly.
Probably having a kick over the man on the mark there, Derm. Might have been a little bit of a tough kick to hit.
Here we go.
Not surprising, Josh Kennedy sits atop the ranking points, but the top 5, in fact, are all Sydney-siders. And the lead is back out to a 12-point margin. Hewitt braced himself. Wood couldn't restrain him completely. Now he gets a chance. Mason Wood runs straight into Zach Jones. But he was able to at least get a handball out. Clark, Turner there to match the desperation of Hewitt. A scramble kick forward, but Sydney well positioned. Nick Smith, never experienced, across to Lloyd. And then jabs it out in front of Reid. Got the bounce he needed. Follow-up from Hanbury. Plenty of resources behind him. And Lloyd, clear space to kick to Papley. Buddy's coming at him now. He's just hesitated on the kick, so Buddy will go back and come a different way. Kick really was to the advantage of Tarrant rather than Franklin, though, and he did well, Robbie Tarrant.
Other way, Troy. Okay, I got it. Go, Lee.
Bit of cleaning up on the sidelines.
Do you mind? Let me push it up there. I know how much it hurts.
11.5 remaining in the half. Hewitt working hard, but so too was Cunnington. Hewitt on all fours gets it out to Naismith, who flicks it wide. Picked up by Tarrant, who's immediately claimed by Buddy. The ball spills free to Cunningham, who gives it to Kennedy. Yet another possession. Down towards full forward. The race is on. An opportunity there for Sinclair. Pushed over the line.
Just been better around the contest, Sydney players, Derm. Just looks like they're more of a chance of getting their hands on the ball. They're able to pressure up North when they touch it. North players just coughing it up a little bit at the moment.
Higgins.
Got to wait for Ben Brown to get down the line here. No, he's turned in, called play on, and then turned back down the line, but he was on the outside of the field. So it is legitimately out of bounds. So that's play on, and then continues down the line while outside. That's good umpiring. It's the right decision.
So back it comes. And we've got a throw in just inside the 50. Kangaroos 13 points down. Somewhat shallow throw in. Cunningham didn't get a look at it. Hanbury did, but only for a moment. Tarrant, the check side, back towards the middle of the ground. A fend off. Mills takes it from Newman, who's having a pretty good day. Marsh, the hand pass is okay. Wide to Lloyd. He has a look down towards the forward line. That's better. Clean football. And it finishes with Sinclair.
No blocks!
I've liked the lad Durden's aggression, but that's twice he's given up on the lead once he knows he's been done in 2 or 3 steps.
15.
Sinclair's missed just the one game so far this season. 4 goals to his name. And looking for his first today. This to give Sydney a 19-point lead, kicking from 52 metres. Distance not a problem, but accuracy is a major worry.
Sinclair, I guess, would be a little nervous about selection with Kurt Tippett back this week, played in the NEAFL, which is interesting in itself that they made him go back and play in the NEAFL to force his way back in. Did pretty well, so interesting to see how they go selection-wise next week.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to have whichever one fights a little harder than the other.
Marsh gets it in there again. Franklin, Towers, lost his footing but kept his head, and then Franklin has sprayed one, and the North fans behind the goal really enjoyed that.
Yeah, he just reeled that handball in. It got shot to him. It got shot to him. It was about 9 foot in the air.
Yeah, it just sticks.
Yes.
Tested footy a problem again this quarter, 32-17 in Sydney's favour. So the North Melbourne mids have really got a lift.
Higgins had a big job, had to beat a couple from the McMillan kickoff, and he did.
They've got a 3-on-2 up the line if he can get it going.
That's where he's heading. Ben Brown is the target, but he had to beat a couple. Anderson, the hand pass okay. Now Rovat traps it, just flicks it round the body. Gibson is away from just outside 50. He goes long in towards Hanson and co at full forward. Wood caught behind. Newman. Eventually Rovat gets it out towards Anderson. Gibson, a left foot snap. There's one behind.
He was so stiff there, Kane Turner. He ran to the front and centre, but he just overran where the ball came down to.
Did you notice, Kingy, what's up with Ben Brown? He seems a little sore.
I think he's just ran into a couple of packs, to be honest. He's put himself into harm's way, and he's just feeling the effects of it now. He'll have a short spell. He'll be fine.
Fair enough. That's dangerous. Yeah, mark taken by Higgins, and he is within range. It's just about whether it's straight, and it can't get much straighter than that.
That's the class.
Yeah, they've needed him, North Melbourne. Sean Higgins been fantastic. 7th disposal there for the quarter, as the others, Zeeble, Cunnington and Dumont have really struggled to him. Just see this, an aggressive kick up the middle of the ground. Great play by Sean Higgins. Been playing a lot of inside midfield this year. Dermot has had a pretty good season. He's carried the load in this second quarter, along with Sam Gibson. The others need to lift. There's
Okay, boys, just the rucks, please.
Dumont in there with him.
So we're back to a 7-point ball game.
We'll leave out the adjectives, but you know that Horse was yelling, why would Jake Lloyd kick the ball into there?
Is that how he said it?
He left out plenty of expletives.
I've left out a few adjectives.
Parker.
Advantage.
Threads his way through heavy traffic, gaining the advantage. It's going to bounce out the back. McVeigh won't have the pace, and it's smashed over the line.
This
now
is
that's going to be
ball.
close. Deliberate.
Yeah, he was beyond the 11 metres. Now the umpire has to make a decision whether he's deliberately gone for a rush behind or whether he's knocked it away from his opponent and legitimately tried to keep the ball still in play.
Let's have another look at this term. I thought he was well inside the 9 metres, isn't it, the goal square?
Well, McVeigh gets the goal.
That's an error.
And a costly error too.
Error by who, Kingy? Which way are you looking at it?
Well, I think that he's actually tried to grab the ball, hasn't he?
No, I reckon there's a fist on it.
No,
he's tatted it.
He's outside the 9-metre area, so then it's just a matter of it's deliberate or not.
I called it 11, sorry.
Yeah.
The 9. I knew it was 1 off 10.
Doesn't matter how much pressure you're under, if it's deliberate from that far out, it's pushed it.
It's definitely pushed it.
You are allowed to deny your opponent access to it, but you cannot go for the line in doing so. Yeah, well, I called it before the umpires did. I knew that was going to be an interesting one.
So look at the scores from stoppages. 4 goals to 1. Basically the difference in the game. Higgins takes them out wide this time, and well-placed Newman couldn't take the chest mark. His recovery was excellent though. Spinning. Heaney, and now they work off half-back via Mills to Papley. Who's next in line? No one yet. Reed gives him a target, but he's set his eyes out back to Newman, who's just drifted away. And from this wing...
McVeigh's not quick enough to get there.
No.
Oh, he's smart enough.
Yeah, still got the smarts. Saw off Vickers. Willis, he might have kicked another goal here. McVeigh got the aeroplanes going, I reckon.
Oh. His opponent ran past him, Brownie, to get to the ball.
Nice little push out there. It was good experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, sensing that Vickers Willis was quicker and went past him. Just pushed him off when the bias was on his... he was loaded up on the left foot. Kept him off the line of the footy.
He might be carrying injury, Dermot. Nothing like a couple of goals just to heighten the pain threshold.
His footy smarts aren't injured. That's for one. That's for sure.
290 games of experience, a telling factor for McVeigh as he gets 2 goals in as many minutes. And suddenly, Sydney shoot away again to a 19-point advantage. Goldstein wins the tap. Can they take it out of the middle? Parker has other ideas. Hand pass puts his teammate under pressure, but he's equal to it. Wide towards the wing. Higgins has been busy. And he's smooth and he's clever, but Zach Jones is persistent.
They look clean when Higgins is around the footy. That's when they look their best. So maybe just keep at Higgins if you're the Sydney Swans, and if you're a North Melbourne supporter, you want the ball in Higgins' hands.
Crucial 7 minutes now. Kennedy, possession number 23. What a game he's having. Newman's been very good as well with 18 to date. Buddy now on the left boot. A floater to goal. And it just veers away. It stays in play. Heaney's going to kick the goal. And he does. Sydney having a hot few minutes. Heaney gets his second.
Yeah, go back to this contest at the 50-metre line at Sydney for Sydney. Sam Durden comes over the top, so it's a high ball coming in, 50-50. Durden's in a good spot. That has to be smashed back towards the North Melbourne midfielders that are coming. Durden had no impact on that contest. It was a very flimsy attempt, Durden. Certainly needed to clear, but
he misjudged it.
Zach Heaney puts on another goal for Sydney. They've come in a rush. Midway through this second term, they've opened up a match-high 25-point margin right now, and they're looking for more. Kennedy has had plenty, and Franklin's in his sights. And you never know with Buddy. This is his favourite spot. Maybe he thinks he's a little bit too far out.
There's no one behind. He should have just taken him on and played on then.
Poked it in, it got through Towers, and Heaney, he's in the right spot again, Isaac Heaney.
They've got to hang on here for Roos.
Durham, they've won the last 11 contested possessions, the Swans. They're putting them to the sword here, and they're failing the test.
It's the old brigade too, Kingy. Those old warriors for the Sydney Swans, led by Kennedy, that are always around the footy and getting hands on and taking some punishment, but winning the ball.
Kennedy up to 24 disposals too, as McMillan sends the Roos back in. Looking for Wood, can't take it. Cunnington, and it's going to grind to a hold again, I think, here. It is.
Yeah, it's a good point. The difference is Kennedy 9 disposals this quarter, Parker 8, Hanbury 6, whereas Cunnington's only had 3, and Zeeble up to only 1 for this quarter for North Melbourne.
Franklin 8 this quarter too, Brownie. Yeah, he's been busy.
Yeah, he's looked dangerous, hasn't he? He's giving Robbie Tarrant the run around, that's for sure.
Still hasn't snagged one yet, buddy.
No. Started with Zeeble going down the line, but only as far as Newman, who's had 9. It's been really good. Hanbury, penetrating hand pass in towards the middle. Towers under the pump. Hand pass slightly astray. Can the door open again for the Kangas? They desperately need a steadying goal. Hanbury's waiting out the back. Takes it now. The handball went from Marsh. Sydney go forward again. Hayward can't complete the mark and he's locked up. Is he going to get done? No, he won't. We'll have a stoppage.
Just a bit of inexperience by Ed Vickers-Willis there. Just panicked a handball over the top. He thought, oh, my teammates are running past. I'll get it going my way, but all he did was put it straight into the hands. It was the look-away handball, straight into the hands of his opponent, Sydney Swans.
Naismith got a hand to it.
It's a great example of what Sydney's been able to establish in this first half. Hanbury's hit there on Zeeble. Every time a North Melbourne players got their first hands, there's always been a Sydney player there to apply physical pressure. Good example there.
Goldstein wins it again. Kennedy working hard, so too Jones. Darts out the back door. Then flicks around the body, up towards the half-forward line. Oh, Parker, a little bit of fancy work. Can he finish it off with a goal? He can. Boy, what a big quarter this is turning out to be for Sydney as Luke Parker gets his second.
Might even run a couple of extras back now. Kingy, at ground level, there's an onslaught happening here, and they're still playing 5 or 6 forwards, North Melbourne. But 4 minutes left in this quarter, they could kick another 2 goals here unless they run a couple back.
Oh, absolutely. They're really the challenge in the middle. They've got their hands on the ball. They're being assaulted in the middle. 14 of the last 17 contested possessions have gone to the leadership group of the Sydney Swans.
Kingy, is it time to drop the tag? So we know that Gibson and Jamon are both tagging at the moment, but they can't get any footy.
Oh, it's a pretty ineffectual tag. They're just getting monstered in the middle. The bigger bodies have taken hold.
Goldstein takes hold of the footy, sends it skyward. Hanson down there, Malikan, Brown, Hanson again, Lloyd holds him up. Could have won a free, backing out Marsh. His kick leaves them very vulnerable. Clark had to wait an age for that to drop, but he's taken the mark, and then North fans are pleading for a 50 just to make sure it's a goal. And Higgins not showing a lot of confidence in his teammate, just going past calling for the handball. So he summed up Ryan Clark's kicking ability. He's kicked 2 goals, 4 in his 8 games. Ryan Clark. Oh, he might have been spot on. He's missed that one to the right.
It's the one area of the game where North Melbourne's actually doing all right. The scores from turnover are actually leading Sydney in that department. It's the stoppages where they're getting absolutely killed. 6 goals to 1 in Sydney's favour. So obviously a lot of work will be spent there by the North Melbourne coaches at half-time trying to work out their stoppage problems.
Vickers-Willis takes a good mark, sets off the hand pass. They go deep into attack once again. Clark may get another opportunity. Dashing towards the pocket, but the ball beats him over the line.
Who's up? Sam? Sam?
For carry on that footy, they both ran under.
Sam and Ben.
Just under 4 minutes remaining in the half. North Melbourne are going to have to find something in the second half. Naismith Kennedy. Just been magnificent. Goes short towards Lloyd, who pokes it out towards the half-back line. Papley was there. Now Cunningham, and they're away. And they go towards Buddy again. He's doing the work from behind. Second grab, no mark, call to play on. So he escapes, and he passes in towards half-forward. Heaney went up with the one hand. Wasn't enough. But they're not out of it yet. Here's Rovat. Coming wide to the wing. Mills used the body. Kennedy's going to be there once again. He's claimed, but he gets the hand pass to Callum Mills. He gives it off towards Hewitt. Hewitt sneaks away from Clark. Back to Mills again. Back to Kennedy. Hewitt says, I'll take it. You have a spell. You've had a big term. And he has. So Smith takes it down the line. Again, Heaney tries a one-hander. It doesn't work. Cunnington, a hurried kick. It's short, but it's going to be effective. Gibson should have marked it. He didn't. Rovat in for the assist. Now Mason Wood. And the Kangas desperate to get out of trouble. It could be Atley that sends them on their way.
He does into the middle to Hanson, who takes it. Roos need to be desperate with 2.5 to go. Desperately need a goal before half-time. This one's earmarked for Ben Brown. He's got Higgins waiting down. He's crowded out at the back. Turner, quick enough, went to ground. And Newman gets the whistle, just what he was after. One has got away.
Who's up, Sydney? Sam. Boys coming out here.
There for North Melbourne. Bit of holding, and that's going to be a free to the Roos. Ben Brown letting Luke Parker know all about it. make the argument now. Is this a ruck infringement? So after the kick, obviously the Swans are questioning who nominated for the ruck. We haven't had one of those for a little while. We've got one on our hands here. It's just what North needs. It's cost them a goal, Sydney. Brown's kicked his first.
It's interesting, Hutto, because I think the umpire's saying that he made eye contact and he accepted that as a nomination. Now, his hand goes in the air there.
So Parker puts his hand up.
Parker. And definitely Brown, so you can't block Brown. Well, it's ruck on ruck, isn't it?
Yeah, Brown and Parker.
I'm not sure what the Swans are disputing.
Well, Nate? Naismith was the ruckman standing near, and I think Sydney argued that he was the ruckman, but either way, you can't do that.
No. The bottom line is Brown has got the goal, his first and a much needed one for the Kangaroos. Sydney out of the middle once again. Williams an effective spoil. Ball bounces down. Atley's quick, and he's got to be. Gives it to Cunnington. Back to Atley. Short kick. It was meant for Goldstein, but it was poor, and it's going to be Costigas. Buddy's at the back, but he didn't take the mark, and now the Kangaroos have got the numbers and plenty of them. Williams takes it now, gives it off to Tarrant. He has a look down towards centre wing. That's poor disposal as well, and the mark has been taken for Sydney by Lloyd, who's averaging 30 disposals a game this season, having a fine year. Short to Hanbury, off to McVeigh, the old firm at work. Back once again from whence it came to Lloyd. He goes short as well. Papley takes the mark. Tom Papley hasn't troubled the scorer to date. He has been troubled by injuries throughout the off-season. Now playing his 6th game. He missed the first couple. And this to perhaps be the last kick of the quarter. Papley from 50 metres. He gets a little too far underneath it, and he's away to the right. So it'll be one behind. 47 plays 73. But an excellent quarter by Sydney. McVeigh's booted 2 in this term. 2 in a couple of minutes, as a matter of fact. 7-goal blast. Grundy uses the body, and in the end he needn't have flown because Newman took a fine mark, and he found McVeigh, who's going to go back and have a shot after the siren.
This will test him, Sandy.
It will, because he's going to be kicking from perhaps just outside 50. He's got 2, but they were relatively easier and closer. So, Jared McVeigh from 50 metres starts it right, and it will not trouble the scorer. So no addition. A very good second quarter by Sydney, and in particular a great half by their skipper, Kingy.
Josh, a fantastic first half. That was a really powerful second quarter. You got the ball rolling. Yeah, well, I think we felt like we got on top in the contested footy, and something that we've lacked earlier in the year, and we're starting to find a groove a bit there. Missing out on a bit here. I'm glad you're saving a lot of money here with me. No point getting involved in that, but your game really is based on contested footy, and you out-hunted them in the second term. Yeah, I felt like our mids are doing really good inside. Goldstein's obviously supreme ruckman, and our rucks are doing a superb job in there on him as well. So hopefully continue that in the second half and yeah, finish it off. They like talking to us, mate, but they like the fight more. Go and have a spell. Thanks, mate.
Mark Hanbury was one of those. Dan Hanbury was one of those, certainly in the thick of things there, young Dan, but not a lot. Just a few checks will have to be written.
Would have been surprised if Mark had...
So would have I. It's a big effort. It's half-time here at Etihad, and a big quarter for Sydney sees them lead 11-7-73. North Melbourne, a 7-5-47. It is Sydney by 26 points.
The Sydney Swans with a big second quarter burst are in control here at Etihad Stadium against the Kangaroos, led by their captain, Josh Kennedy. As we have a look inside the rooms now, 7-5-47 to 11-7-73. I've got Dermot Brereton, Jonathan Brown and David King alongside me. Derm, we know that this is such a crucial game for Sydney and for where they want to go this year. Do you like the way they've started?
They're treating it as such, aren't they? I think Kingy pointed out from downstairs, they're bashing them up on the inside, aren't they? Big, brooding bodies. You know, Kennedy leads the way. They're just massive midfielders, aren't they? And then you take Parker into account, and then you've also got Hanbury. But this man is doing all the damage at the core.
He is, and Sydney's contested ball games rolling. He's the architect of all that. He's the heart and soul of this team. Nominally he's the captain, but he's more than that, isn't he? He gets their ball rolling, if you like, Brownie. Season high contested possessions for the Sydney Swans, season low for North Melbourne. You can see why. It looks like men versus boys in the middle at the moment.
They're definitely bashing up around the contest. That's where the game's being won by Sydney. They've been really dominant in the contested possession game, and hence have scored well from clearance. I think it's like 6 goals to 1 from stoppages, but it's been set up by this. Sydney been poor this season, contested footy, which has been the hallmark of their game over the past decade, really. But today, they're plus 30-odd key, which has been is an unbelievable effort in the first half.
Third last year, ranked 16th at the moment on contested possession differentials. But when they win a term, their ability to then turn that into an uncontested game. And we've seen Zach Jones come into their team and be a midfielder for them. And I think their connecting players are really getting rolling. Plus 70 disposals at half-time. That's a huge number for them.
Gives them some wheels away from the pack, doesn't it? But, Kingy, you also mentioned that they're like men playing boys. And we heard Brad Scott during the week say, I want the draft age lifted. Saw Silvani 2 weeks ago take himself out when he chose to bump. This young lad, Simpkin, chose to bump. Some of these blokes aren't ready for senior football physically. They might be talent-wise, but we talk about management of players. This kid is really... So I look at it, it's like racing 2-year-olds at the Gallops.
75 kilo, and I think we saw exactly there why he needs some time. Maybe the next level down just to find his feet.
All right, stay with us. Coming up after the break, the Herald Sun's John Ralph joins us to recap all of the big issues out of a busy round 8 of football. Stick around. It's the Sydney Swans leading the Kangaroos at Etihad Stadium.
Welcome back to Etihad Stadium. Round 8 drawing to its conclusion. We've got a half to go, and North Melbourne has a big job ahead of them. Down by 26 points. Tom Papley being relatively quiet. You know that he's had his troubles during the off-season and early in the home and away. Let's hope he gets back to really top form. Just about set to go then in the second half. Sydney, no doubt, keen to keep the momentum rolling. Ben Brown, just a 1 goal. And that was somewhat controversial. So Naismith beating Goldstein. Cunnington trying to get it out, but they've got him well and truly covered. Headed up by Isaac Heaney.
You look right there. Jack Zeeble is just making sure he touches the jumper of Josh Kenny. So the coach has said, you're the captain, you stop this bloke.
You've got him, and good luck. Passes Atley. Cunningham, an opportunity, goes into the middle. Towers with a high ball. Up towards Reid, who takes a one-hander.
Easy.
Is it a good game so far, Derm? 10 disposals, 2 goals. A great way to start the second half. That's encouraging because quite often just takes marks on the lead or jumping up. Great contested mark.
Special comments from Hampden League coach Jonathan Brown.
Winning coach.
Winning coach, of course. And what a start for Sydney in this second half. Sam Reid has kicked the goal and he's got his third and has stretched the lead. 79 plays 47. It's a 32-point ball game.
Can't say I've seen this a lot from Sam Reid in the past term. Feet planted.
Don't give one away.
Fourth mark for him tonight, and the other 3 have been on the stretch. He's not pushing away a bunny either.
Look at that. I love his balance with his feet. He doesn't get too wide or too narrow with his feet. Keeps his body stable and obviously protects the drop zone, which is the most important thing. So only one player could access that ball, and that was Sam Reid, and he was good enough to complete the mark.
Averaging a career high 1.57 goals per game already this year. Back in goal kicking form today after a few weeks without. Now Zeeble trying to change things around and send it North Melbourne's way. Plenty of depth on the kick, but Ben Brown can't get the proper run at the McDonald kick.
That centre bounce, ruck work, tap and takeaway was probably the best I've seen this season. It was extraordinary. Beautiful ruck work, and Zeeble knew exactly where it was going. Just A-grade stuff.
Unfortunately, it doesn't amount to...
didn't end up in a score, but it was just wonderful.
McDonald, who had the kick inside, has only had 3 disposals in this game, Luke McDonald. He's been in pretty good form of late. His average per game jumping up from 14 to 19. He's one Kangaroo that really needs to lift in this second half.
6 mark there for Sam Reid.
Down the line for Papley. A bit distressed, as we saw when he came out at the start of the third quarter. Drives it down the line. Naismith tries to get there to disrupt Goldstein, and all he succeeded in doing was giving away the free. Big Goldie, a couple of goals in this game. 8 disposals and just the 1 mark. Hanson. Poke down to Cunnington. Sharp hands. Williams. And that allows Zeeble to get free and kick deep, but Marsh was the man who knew how to win the ball, and suddenly Sydney are away. Hanbury. This one for the win for Heaney, who goes to Franklin.
Good double lead there by Franklin.
And Tarrant was on guard, and well, he might be. But Bud's kick has facilitated Lloyd drifting into the 50, and he can line them up.
Yeah, well worked there by the Sydney players. They're all over the other side of the field, weren't they, Dermond? Their effort to spread away from the contest, and for Sydney to move the ball like that, it just makes it so much easier for Buddy Franklin and difficult for Robbie Tarrant.
Well, Tarrant has played him pretty well, but he was powerless to stop Franklin winning that mark then.
So Jake Lloyd finished his 2nd goal this season. And just drifts across. Through for a minor. So the Swans are on that edge. If they can kick another couple, it's going to be very, very hard to see North getting back. So Rue's obviously well aware of that. Have you noticed any changes, significant changes for North?
The only thing I can see is Zeeble is actually manfully going to Kennedy now and said, "You're mine."
Kennedy only needs another 18 disposals to get his personal best of 45, by the way.
Only 18.
Only 18.
He'll do it on the bit. Here's Parker. Spearing a pass back inboard. Difficult one to grab. An opportunity for Buddy. Inside 50. Hewitt was a target. Reid was there also at the back, but couldn't take it. Marley Williams, an opportunity to clear for the Kangaroos. And he gets it away to Higgins. Tarrant. They go through the middle now. A very tentative bounce, but it's going to be okay.
What the?
What? Well, no, it's not okay, and Scotty can only hang his head in wonderment. Zeeble late on the scene, but he charges through and he affects the spoil. Naismith gets a hand pass clear. Kennedy again. That's a disposal, so now he's got 17 required.
That was a receive. He did well. I can only think of colour blindness there for North Melbourne.
They had no hit-up targets, did they, Derm, into half forward?
Heaney, short to Cunningham. Cunningham just on the defensive side of centre. Laterally to Mills.
Well, Franklin's got a long lead now.
Waiting for some movement, and he gets it from Buddy. Shrugs talent, and if it sits, he might be in business. Picks it up with the one hand. Cunningham helps with the Shepherd. He goes short. The diving attempt was by Papley. It wasn't a mark. He did get rid of it, however, to Parker. Parker pokes a hand pass in towards the middle. Marley Williams was there, but couldn't take it. Vickers-Willis through for the Kangaroos, and now Higgins comes wide. An opportunity for McDonald. One bounce. Onto the left boot he goes. Copped some pretty heavy attention from Heaney. He reaches the 50, however. Bit of pressure on the Sydney defence. Towers did really well to get a short little chip kick away. Now they got a chance to move towards Kennedy. No, he's ignored by Hayward. Hayward says, "I'm going it alone." Down towards the forward line. Who's going to get up first? Papley's second. Thompson's first. Papley's over the top. Comes out the back door. No one able to get clear cleanly. Lurking is Hanbury. He's on the right foot. That's the left. He likes it from there, and he's done it again. All the signs are bad. The signs are really bad. Even just a quick scan across the data of possessions.
Tell you what,
North Melbourne have got only 6 players in double figures in possessions, and the Swans only have 6 who aren't in double figures.
I'm not liking when North Melbourne players rush the ball off half back. They've got no forwards leading at them, Derm, into that half forward. It's a real problem for them.
We are just into the third quarter, and they are almost 100 possessions more than North Melbourne.
Canterbury on that list of top 5 disposal winners, and he is edging his way back to his top form. North, can they change this game? They need to desperately. Parker tries to insert them again.
Dumont got banged up there when he went for that centre bounce tap out, or the crumb of it.
In the back against Harry Cunningham that time. Gibson's free.
Another one, only the 4 possessions to Dumont for an on-baller. That is not seeing a lot of it.
Oh, Williams has skied that one. He needs an awfully lucky bounce. They're going to get out of this. They're not. Hewitt took it from Towers. Thought about returning the favour. A little nice on tiptoe work there, and he spears it low to Buddy. And Franklin falls into the mark.
It might be... This is the distance that troubles him, and the reason being is that he feels good mentally when he's out on this angle. Another 30, 25 out.
It's got time to do that.
Because it has time to get the tail on it, to come back from what he's looking at, right to left. Here, it has no time, so he has to kick this, and it's only going to travel straight when it gets to the goals. No time for that opening, tailing bend on it. It's a tough kick for Lance from here.
So 8 goals last week, yet to kick one this afternoon. Sydney have got 7 different goal kickers, and Buddy Franklin is not one of them. There you go, Durham. This is that one. That's 0 goals 3 for Franklin, who loves this ground. The average is 3.5 goals per game here, which is better than any other ground he's played on. Even down in Tassie, it's 3.48. So.
And that includes that 13 down there, Anthony.
Thank you, Durham.
Thank you both. Back into play. Kangaroos. Oh, that's a heavy knock. A heavy knock to the head. And it'll be a free kick the way of Clark.
It's an interesting discussion you're having with Buddy Franklin. He's kicked 8 goals or more 10 times in his career, but only once has gone to the 10-goal mark.
Yeah.
Dunstall did it 16 times, and Lockett obviously 22.
He does get up the ground a fair bit. You'd think as the score gets higher, he'd drop himself close to the goal square, but that's not his game.
Clark wanted Gibson, but instead Hanbury and co have decided otherwise. Hewitt going short. It's got to be good here for Parker, and it's going to finish over the line.
I would have thought when you get above 6, Derm, you just start to ease your way back deep inside 50 and tell everyone to get the hell out of your way. Especially all your teammates. My word, I did. Unfortunately, I never got close enough to 10 that many times.
Oh, it's not that big a deal. Thrown once again. Dumont's hand pass put his teammate under the pump. Kennedy lurking. Dumont goes again for a second time. Cunningham just gets boot to ball and tries to smash it clear. A high tackle on Zeeble. We'll see him be the recipient of a free kick.
He finished off Dennis Pagan from my memory, Brown.
Yes. Williams. Short. It's got to sit for Higgins, and he might be all right. Jones is right on his hammer. She's a good handball forward. Just thought his way through it really well. Now Clark. Shepherding sees him clear. That's okay. They get it down towards the 50. This is Turner, who kicked the goal in the first quarter. Up towards full forward. Big pack of players. Vickers Willis was waiting down, but his kick is wide and goes... No, it's just kept in play by Lloyd. He ambled towards it, was in no hurry at all, and then just popped it over to Reid. That could be the shortest mark of the year in terms of the kick, for distance then. Quite agree. There's another one. Just put Towers under the pump a little. He gets out of it. Goes short to Newman.
For his 23rd disposal, Newman has been good today.
There's a late inclusion too coming in for Florent. Goes long up towards the wing. Goldstein is one of the flyers. Attlee can't get free to use his pace. Cunnington sets up the hand pass, though, and the Kangas go charging towards Brown. Just a fraction too far underneath it. Lloyd cuts it across towards Melican. And Sydney, for the moment, out of trouble.
And Jones has got the run. Unfortunately, didn't get the bounce he was after. Just about submitted to the tackle. Maybe pretty fortunate to be allowed to play on. As it turns out, it's a North ball now, won by McMillan. Vickers-Willis searching for something. He's just kicked it into the space, and Big Ben Brown's up on a long run. It's hard for him to stop. He had the full head of steam up. Hansen came to try and provide assistance, but the boundary line was his best ally there.
Big difference here. So a lot of North Melbourne players just walking the centre of the ground there, Derm. Even when North Melbourne won the ball off half-back, when Sydney win the ball off half-back, their midfielders are sprinting. They're charging the other side of the field. So definitely a work rate and an energy difference between the two clubs.
Lovely work again from Goldstein to Cunnington. But the kick was certainly not to Ben Brown's advantage. Grundy's got issues. Oh, this is paid deliberate. That's not going to make them feel any better. They were arguing about the one decision before, and then the umpire said, no, that's deliberate. That rule's just about disappeared this weekend. And it springs up in the forward pocket in the third quarter.
I think people are used to it now that if you're under pressure and you're within that 9 metres, you can literally seek that goal line out to rush it through.
Yeah, but this was out of bounds, and it was by the offensive team.
Yeah. So we'll have another look at it.
So in fact, it came off Mills's leg, I reckon.
You mentioned not a lot of run, Jonathan. If I'm North Melbourne and they're in a development stage, they pared their list back. I'm trying to have a project with McMillan and Atley especially to utilise their running capabilities. They've given them no drive off half-back.
What about that for flash hands?
Gee, that was brilliant. But the kick wasn't by Jones, and Gibson's going to tidy up for Williams. Marley's away across half-back. Can combine with Tarrant. He does. Shakes off Hanbury. Goldstein under the pump. And taken over the boundary line by Callum Sinclair.
Is this deliberate again, Sandy? So Sydney had possession. Ben Brown's there. I reckon it went back into Mills's foot. But either way.
Hard to tell in real time, isn't it? It almost looks deliberate. However, from Naismith, it goes to Hewitt, who flicks it down towards half forward. Kept in play by Durden. Gibson. Short. Higgins can run through half-back. He does. Then he goes long and low and flat. No real direction in the kick.
Well, again, no half-forward leading up to the ball carrier there, Sandy.
And Grundy had no problems at all, but he's put it down the throat of McMillan.
Now let's watch what McMillan does.
Cunnington in the middle.
Kick and stationary.
Yeah, and Hanbury will get this one. He's got him. He's got him.
Good rock.
Yeah, got the kick away. No great distance. Back towards Grundy again, who's got plenty of assistance. That's a poor kick, however. Zeeble chops it off. He's too far out to score, you'd think. He's going to be kicking from 55. But he's going back a long way.
He can kick this, boys. He's a huge kicker.
You reckon he'll get it, Kingy?
I think he will. I'll bag him for distance anyway. When he sets his mind to it like this, he's a very long kick.
Well, they need some inspiration if they're going to get back into this game. He starts a run-up like Michael Holding. And the drop punt is long. There's no doubt about that. And it's going to make the distance. Has it? Touched on the line. One behind.
The way they're playing, you just wonder how they could have kicked 10 goals to nothing at the start of last week.
In a quarter.
In a quarter, yeah.
Yeah, they were able to win the footy around the contest, that's for sure, and force it forward. And Jared Waite makes a big difference there forward line. No doubt about that.
Sydney dominating here. Haven't quite put them away yet. So if North...
Well, you're seeing as well, Mason Wood with 5 possessions has struggled without Jared Waite there.
The flow-on effect is significant, isn't it? Cunnington now they start to win the ball a little bit. They need to find a path to goal. It's gone over Ben Brown's head. Wood flew, not his day at the moment. Anderson tries to dig in. Rovat charged through. Mason Wood, Turner, they're all having a crack. The ball goes back to Wood. And he's crowded out. The umpire says you can keep going. Hewitt slammed it on the boot. Difficult. Gibson stands underneath. It was hard to get exactly where it was going to drop. Cunnington Tried to invent a new method of handball there, I think. Across that last line. Towers feeling the heat. And finally a goal. Persistence paying off for North. And Kane Turner, that's his second.
Looks like Hanbury's pretty quick too there. He's in that marking contest about 40 metres out from goal. He flew, very courageous, but had to go. Let's have a look at this contest. Oh, he's got the knee right in the middle of the stomach.
Oh. Got it from both angles there, didn't he?
Great tackle. Much needed goal for North Melbourne, kicked by Turner, but Hanbury coming off second best in that marking contest. Here to cop a knee towards the lower rib. We'll keep an eye on that. There's a recall in the middle.
Jed Anderson laid the tackle that saw a goal there. There's really good pressure. They've actually tackled pretty well tonight for a team which has been knocked around the footy lot. It's happening right now. They've tackled pretty hard.
Kennedy, they're away again. Naismith tumbling a punt out the back. Buddy. The race is on. Franklin's going to need assistance here. Heaney comes in to try and help. Heaney picks it up now, tries to flick it round the body, but only pokes it straight up and down, and it's hammered over the boundary line.
Just on that point, Dermot, North Melbourne won the tackle count as you'd expect. They're getting beaten for disposals, 48-40, but it's been Sydney's perceived pressure. Every time North Melbourne midfielder has touched the ball, there's been a Sydney jumper right there. So they haven't been able to get control around the contest.
They're not dead yet. If they could get another one before three-quarter time.
I think this is a pretty good Swans outfit, boys. They've got the eye of the tiger back. They're going to be making a serious charge to the finals on the back of what we're seeing today.
Dual premiership player David King on the boundary line. And Cunnington gets the hand pass away. Back towards Brown on centre wing, up against Grundy. Grundy got hands to it first. On all fours, he gets the hand pass out. That's going to be okay. It was Marsh who got it across to Newman. Newman kicks up towards the 50, poked away from McMillan by Hewitt, and we've got a throw in.
Kingy, we've seen teams in the past that have a midfielder, as we look at Dan Hanbury there, you'll talk to us about him, midfields that aren't explosive. They have half-backs who literally take the running game for the midfield. North Melbourne have got a couple of runners in the back line, but they don't come through the centre of the ground.
That's a good point. And they're a work in progress. I think they're still finding their own identity. It's a new season for them. They're 8 games into a whole new campaign, really. The focus has changed there dramatically over the last 6 months. But, you know, the Swans have played a lot of football together. When you look at this outfit out here now, well-led, well-organised. They've taken a long time to get their game going, but the last couple of weeks have been really positive.
Thompson, they get the handball out. Tarrant has to turn and kick. And it's pretty systematic as he gets it back again. Gets them to half forward. Just gets away from Dumont. The ball goes over the line and out of bounds.
Struggled today, Trent Dumont, only 7 disposals. Tried to get on to Josh Kennedy earlier on in the game, but looks like that's been released now. Playing in the forward line.
Goldstein takes front position. Parker. Clark. Roos do have some numbers there. McDonald gets himself into the clear. Beautifully read, though, by the Swans. You can see Grundy wasn't going to take it. It was going to be Nick Smith, and Smith does take the grab.
Just came in a bit flat. You've got Hansen and Brown in the area. You want them to be able to get to that ball, but it came in a little flat.
It's been a problem to them, the forward entries for North Melbourne. The marks haven't taken many marks at all inside 50.
Well, the mark was taken by Higgins' direct opponent, and not what he did when he saw the ball coming his way. He thought he propped, turned 180 degrees and thought, I'll crumb this, but his man just backed into it and marked it because the two big fellas couldn't bring it down.
Isaac Heaney, boys, getting some advice from the Kangaroo supporters out the back there as Gibson sees it over the line. Sydney have got St Kilda next week and then Hawthorn before the bye. So they've got a great opportunity of getting their season back on track.
A lot of numbers beyond the football, Sydney. Obviously, John Longmire's decided to push him back. Sam Reid now deep in defence. They've got another +1 as well. Got 8 defenders at the moment, the Swans.
Here's Zeeble. Into the middle. Atlee better. Puts the burners on and away he goes. Atlee towards Brown, who's caught out of position.
There it is, the contest. Sam Reid back there to help out Grundy.
He put the burners on, as you call, Sandy, but he kicks to a 2-on-1. Look lower. Somebody's got to come at him.
Grundy, short, almost pulled in by Newman. He did really well. Papley had it spent a little too early. An opportunity for McDonald again. Short, thrown out the back by Benny Brown. And now a snap by Dumont is hitting the woodwork and one behind.
The forward line just hasn't functioned. We just saw then, was it Mason Wood ran across Ben Brown's path. Ben Brown really strong, decisive lead. Kick didn't quite make him, but Wood crossing into his leading lane, which is not great forward play. So chemistry's not there at the moment for North's forwards.
Newman takes it out to Reid, who's had 10 marks for the game so far.
Hanbury's come on and he's got into the 50, just sneaky, but it's going to go via Buddy. And he's taken the mark just inside. Cornered against the line. He pops it, trying to get it to Hayward, but the kick was wayward. And the Roos should be able to get away. Oh, there's a North Melbourne player in a heap. There he is there. Play goes on. Zeeble at half-back. There's no shortage of niggle between these two sides.
Sturden, who was down, he's up now.
Now here's that overlap run you want to do him with Atlee, the carrier, and the kick again, no good. The Swans defence not killed yet. Mills was about to be tackled, and sensing the danger, he keeps it in safe hands, and Grundy kicks it to Reid, who takes the mark.
So what we've got now is Reid has dropped into defence. Now, with the shuffle up in the North Melbourne backline, they've created Atlee as that loose play. Now, he's not going to be an intercept marker, but he'll give you some run forward. He's just got to kick it to advantage, though.
Wandering handball from Hanbury. More with hope than design. And here it is again, that extra body. Atlee's got issues, though. He handballed it and coughed it up straight away, and it could prove very, very costly. The kick is deep for Papley. Hewitt drove it long, and Papley to have the shot for goal.
Pressure around the footy when Atlee went to the back of that pack, tried to mop up. The pressure they put on him was fantastic by the Swannies.
So Papley directly in front. Just the one behind for the day. And he's put it through, though. And the Swans edge away again. Margin is 38. Brownie and Doom, you talked about the absence of Jared Waite. And there he is there watching on. And the numbers certainly back up what you were saying, the importance of Jared Waite when he's there.
Well, there's a huge discrepancy in the win-loss records with Waite in the side and without Waite in the side. And obviously, you know, Mason Wood then has to play on the second main defender for the opposition. It's not
and there are the numbers that back up the importance of Waite. Look at that. They've won 2 of 16 without Jared Waite since 2015, and with him, 27 of 39.
So back in the middle.
It's compelling, isn't it, those numbers?
Papley getting his first goal for the day. The little Garfield plumber. This is Jack Zeeble. Out of the middle. Oh, that's a very wide kick as well. Robat was there.
He's got to keep it away from kicking it to the goal square because it's a 2-on-1. Now we've got a 3-on-2.
Reid is the flyer. Just kept in play then for the moment by McDonald. Robat again. Dropped the footy. Grundy. Ricochets off and through for one behind. Like
kick to goal.
In another cannon. That's an own goal. We say, why'd he go so wide? And it does look bad, but the fact is, he saw what was unfolding in the goal square. There were superior numbers by Sydney Swans. They did the same in the first quarter. They ran Reid back into the back line to just stop any kind of resistance or clawback that North Melbourne might be able to get.
Jones short to Mills, who in turn finds Marsh.
Move it on. Play on.
Clock ticking down to 3/4 time, and what the Kangas would give for another goal in this final minute. There's a good mark by Buddy Franklin. He wastes no time. It's a long bomb towards Hayward. Edged out by Vickers-Willis, who is the first to recover, but then they've got him. Now they've got a problem because Hayward is clear. Steadies, passes again across the ground beautifully, and the mark is taken there by Hewitt.
Great pressure again, once again. On the replay, eventually we'll get a look at this, but it just seemed superior numbers when the ball got to the half-forward line in favour of the Sydney forwards.
George Hewitt. A chance to stretch Sydney's lead. Not only that, he can kick his first goal for the season. 38 metres out, and he's done exactly that. Sydney on the siren, starting to cruise, and the job is ahead for North Melbourne.
Oh, still on, Sandy.
Well, it's been niggledy all day. It's just one group. No, it's not. There's a couple. But they're parting ways now. And there'll be plenty of reviewing done in this match. Perhaps a suggestion would be to have a look at the scoreboard. It's three-quarter time.
That never works.
Sydney probably makes it worse. Sydney are 15-9-99. North Melbourne are 8-8-56. It is Sydney by 43 points. Sydney led by 11 points at a quarter time. They stretched it to 26 at the long break, and at three-quarter time even further ahead. They've got a 43-point advantage going into the final round, but there's been plenty of niggle in every quarter so far. 15-9-99 to 8-8-56. Reed's booted 3. Turner and Goldstein have 2 apiece. Kennedy's been busy from the outset, so too has Newman. Gibson's tried hard for North Melbourne, but the most contentious issue of the day was a ruck infringement. Are we checking on the umpire's hearing? Let's have a listen to how it unfolded.
Thank you. Who's up? Sydney? Sam? Boys coming out here. Block! Sam was the nominated ruckman. Sam was the nominated ruckman. He nominated. He said him. He said him. He nominated. Redo it. Clear the mark. Clear the mark. Move away. No. So I've come down and I've said Sam and Ben.
Guys, 10 metres.
Okay, I thought that he'd nominated. He looked at me. I thought that he'd nominated. So no, I thought
15 gone.
15 gone.
So the umpire assumed that it was going to be Sam as he came towards him, but it wasn't.
Yeah, that's a clear mistake by the umpire, I would have thought. So he did presume, but Parker had actually nominated.
Yeah, tough. It's tough. That's going to happen every now and then, but it's so costly. That's the problem when it's in front of goal. We're into the final term. North need a bit of a miracle here, and it starts with Parker going to Franklin. The story really here, it looks like, is just the re-emergence of the Swans, isn't it? I mean, they've got their mojo back, their guns in the middle. Kingy talked about it before. They're looking like we're used to with Kennedy and Parker.
Good luck to Troy Pennell too while you're talking umpires. He did a hamstring in the second quarter. It's at least a 3-weeker.
Well, they were down to 2 umpires last night in Adelaide at the end, weren't they?
Yeah, no, I saw him down there. No, I'm being serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cunnington gets it out to Higgins. Thumps it towards centre half forward. It pitches and that makes life difficult. Grundy and North come. The cavalry arrive and they've got some options here. Gibson feeding it through to Rovat. Oh, Anderson has made a complete meal of it, unfortunately. And that was a golden opportunity, which may well have disappeared now. This could be surely deliberate. No.
Ooh, that's gone.
Well, they eased it back a little, you'd say.
Speaking of gone, Jeremy McVeigh's been taken downstairs as we look at this comedy of errors in the forward 50 for the Kangas. He's been taken downstairs, boys. It looks like he's just made his way back to the bench now. Some sort of right hamstring issue. Not sure we'll see him for the day or not.
Well, they've clearly overcorrected. I mean, the AFL said they were happy with the way it was being interpreted, and it's clearly changed this weekend. Jones Works across half back and finds Nick Smith.
I think they would have classed that as a skill error because Tom Papley was in the vicinity, and you could argue that he made the effort, the Sydney guy, to get it to Papley. He was just pushed off balance at the last second.
Melican takes the mark. And gets it back to Grundy. So the margin, 43. How handy that would have been for North to kick a goal at the start of the last quarter and try and build some momentum. Kennedy underneath it, they were coming for him. Anderson laid the tackle. Jones went in hard. Good back up Mills. They're still scrapping and scrambling for it. And again, the tempers are flaring. Still 43 points between these two teams. Naismith comes together with Goldstein.
Oh, that's going to hurt.
Upended.
That is going to hurt. Came through. Don't think it was malicious of any nature, but it just certainly collected it.
Zeeble bombs away towards full forward. And the mark taken by Grundy. I think Willis down there in attack now. They're trying a few different things, Brad Scott, which is fair enough.
Well, he's got to find out a few things now, doesn't he?
Grundy towards Buddy Franklin. Tarrant with him. Affects the spoil. Marley Williams was waiting at the back. Just hurriedly gets boot to ball. It's a high one. He comes over the top. Could have been fringe, but no. Parker was in trouble. Cunnington can goal. And he has. Ben Cunnington, well, he averages 25 disposals a game. That's just his first goal for the day and only his fourth for the season. So can that inspire the Kangaroos to make something of this final quarter?
I'm not so sure that was a realistic attempt to jump at the footy then by Isaac Heaney. When the ball got there, his back was already facing the ball.
What about the bomb from Marley Williams going inside 50? Not sure about that one, but anyway, Ben Cunnington, I don't think he's had a huge effect on the game today. He has had the 9 clearances, but he lowered his colours like all the North Melbourne players around the middle of the ground today.
Yeah, he had 13 last week, and that was an equal PB. Hanbury, and there is Vickers Willis, takes a good strong mark in defence, and off it goes to McMillan as they swing from half back up to the wing. Can they grab another goal and breathe life into this game? Brown gets it off quickly. He was dumped as he kicked it, Anderson. And Durden is going to have the shot for goal here. So, they've kicked the first. And another goal here would make it very interesting. Sam Durden, just his second game and did not kick a goal in his first game. So this is a big moment for him. Could it be the start of something for North Melbourne?
15 gone.
Part of the future and the rebuild of North Melbourne. Sam Durden for his first goal in AFL footy. Oh. Maybe the moment a bit too much as it hits the post.
I'm not sure you... did you put the mocker on him there, Hutto?
Yes, he did. He did. So back into play, and that'll be down ground.
It's been plenty of niggle today.
It has, hasn't it?
Well, that's a couple of opportunities North have blown, isn't it, at the start of this final term.
Newman's been good. A late inclusion into the side, and this is disposal number 29. Sinclair over the top. Goldstein waiting down on that occasion. Hayward twists into trouble, loses the footy. Sinclair into assist. Cunningham in there as well, but he can't get out. So a stoppage on the wing.
Josh Kennedy up to 33. Be disappointed if he doesn't get 40 today, dude, after starting with 15 in the first quarter.
He's got somewhat of a more competitive opponent in the second half, though.
Yes. Hewitt ripped off the footy, gets another opportunity. Eventually tumbles a punt towards the injured McVeigh, who's really struggling with that right thigh. Papley's at the back. Can he get away from McMillan? He can. Flicks it round the body and gets the goal. Tommy's away.
The score from stoppage there, Derm. 8 goals to 2 now out of these stoppages. And this is the story of the day, really. It's where all the damage has been done. Forward out of another stoppage there. Tommy Papley on the end of it, but they've just been able to spread away from the contest a lot better, Sydney, and obviously win the contest inside. It's been a magnificent display, led by Kennedy, Parker, Hanbury. They're big names.
So Tom Papley takes Sydney back out to that 42-point margin, making it in North Melbourne Revival a little less likely, but they'll keep on coming. Higgins, deep again. Durden is down there with Ben Brown. He's did enough to make it effectively a one-on-one contest. And Brown takes the mark. He's got to get back and start things rolling.
Decent jog out to the top of his run, wasn't it? Yeah. It was a good grab, though.
Takes a while to get back too, June. Almost back to the centre circle here, Ben Brown.
Well, there's a spare man in each team's defence at the moment of that centre bounce, and it was at Sydney Swans' behest. They wanted to play a 7th defender back there, and that at the moment is Lloyd.
Just kicked a 1 goal. Enjoys the he had 31 games here for 63 goals before today, and he's comfortably put that one through for his second. As we go down to David King to talk a bit more about Big Ben Brown.
Well, he's had a fantastic start to 2017. You can see there, 3rd in the competition in terms of getting a return on the scoreboard from his targeted entries. Targeted 11 times today. He's only taken the 1 mark inside the forward 50. So a disappointing day for Ben. But you can see that the scope that this man's got. I think he'll be a star in the next couple of years in the AFL competition.
So we're back to a 6-goal break. 36 points the margin. Brown kicked the goal and now having a run on the ball. Floats a little early. Kennedy couldn't take it. Cunnington can. Can he get it out? In trouble was Atley. Cunnington tries to lock it up again and does.
So there you go. Atley's now the extra one in North Melbourne's defence. So he's the 6th defender.
Here's Sam Reid, who's the 7th defender for Sydney.
Cunnington again. Higgins high. Was touched. Wood leading in the race. An errant hand pass, making it difficult for Jed Anderson.
A quick change up, because the 7th defender at the last bounce was Jake Lloyd, who's not an intercept marking player. They get out marked by Ben Brown, so they quickly swap it around. So Sam Reid is now the 7th defender because they want to get it in the air.
Newman pushed off it. Again, close to the line. Kept in play. And the mark taken by Thompson.
Got to be careful here, because Reid is occupying the goal square.
Tarrant just decides to go bang with a bomb.
He kicks it to him.
And he does. He got a fist to it, slaps it wide, and eventually it dribbles over the boundary line.
Well, you've got to make sure, if you're going to kick that kick, you've got to clear the line. You can't just kick it to that bloke.
You could have got a bit closer too, didn't you?
Yeah, well, get there. But just don't kick it to him. I mean, that is so frustrating. For forwards, it's frustrating. For coaches, it's frustrating.
Can they take advantage while they've got it in the zone? No, they can't, because it's Heaney who's going to set up a string of handballs. And Jones is running as well. He's got to juggle it. Higgins finally gets him, but he held him illegally, said the umpire. So the advantage is being paid, and Sydney go further afield, in towards full forward. A tired-looking Ben Brown gives chase and sees the ball go over the line for 1 behind.
Professional free kick here, even if he's going to argue it.
Fairly delayed advantage the umpire played there.
Marley could have stopped it.
Atley zigzagging through the middle of Etihad Stadium, laid it off to Thompson, who knows one way, and let's get it down along to Turner, who reached over the top and pinched it. He's got no real long, tall targets. Mason Wood, Anderson, both there. Free kick, and they'll get a shot for goal against Callum Mills.
Wow.
That's one positive for the Kangaroos today, Derm, is the work of Turner. And he's a low possession player. He's only had the 9 disposals today. He's kicked a couple of goals, so he's more than played his role. But he is a bit of a wild card. He's doing some work with Brent Harvey. throughout the week and starting to pay some dividends.
That was the best mark I've seen him take inside forward 50, that last one that he punched it in there. But the ball goes in flat, and it's a scatter ball, and North are a chance.
And Anderson puts it through. So they keep coming.
Here they come, Hutto. Don't worry about that. Well, good.
But Brownie,
sorry,
you kick it in the air to Sam Reid, and it can only go one way. But now this is a good mark here. This is the one you're talking about by Tarrant. Good hands. But it goes in flat. Now look at Reid at the top of your screen. He can't get to this. It's a low scatter ball. It creates confusion, a bit of panic.
Was a bit of a helicopter, in fairness.
Might be better to do that.
Well, the optimist would say they kicked 10 in a quarter last week. Why can't they do it again? Back in the middle. Brown still having a run on the ball, and he gets taken to ground too. Sydney send it forward.
McMillan's the extra.
Towards McVeigh. He doesn't get a kind bounce. The Roos have got the numbers. It's Tarrant. Well, the player he was looking for was Clark, but there was just a little too much on it. Clark eventually tries to soccer it clear. He gets support. Dumont picks it up now, but didn't look where he was kicking. And there's the man.
You've got to stop kicking into this bloke.
It's been a good move in the second half, Derm. Put Sam Reid back there. You've got scoreboard ascendancy just to try and snuff out any hopes from North Melbourne. And North Melbourne forwards haven't worked well enough together to be able to exploit it. They haven't been able to lead up at the ball carrier well enough to really nullify Sam Reid's effect.
And the fact that they're going long is a pure knock-on effect of not having Jared Waite there. He knows that footy coming in. He would lead short and hard up the middle to that. Instead, they're under pressure. They go long. And Reid does the rest.
Hanbury to Jones. He goes down the line. Buddy doing the roving work, and he takes them on. And he gets through some heavy traffic. He pulls it back. Cunningham has got to beat a couple here. Vickers-Willis has got him. It's touched, it's pushed wide. Callum Mills could be first to this, or the boundary line, or Cunningham. It is the latter, but he's pressured over the line. 11 minutes remaining in the game.
Ben and Sam. Ben and Sam.
No indecision there about who's going to take the ruck work. Ben and Sam. Naismith and Brown. The latter wins it, but it's Heaney who flicks it in towards goal. Now it stands on its head and it bounces. A little bit of magic, a little bit of magic from Buddy Franklin. Well, he's waited a long time for his first goal today after booting 8 last week, but he's got it, and well, that's Buddy.
This is a 106 kilo, 6'6" forward, just able to hold himself. Physical pressure from a big man defender in Tarrant there, but that's just raw power, body mass. Knew what he wanted to do, thought his way through it.
Great finish there. So the round ground stoppages, Derm, have been where the damage has been done. 7 goals to 2. And they are on fire. Continues to happen with that trend. Sydney midfielders have been magnificent.
Margin 37. Goldstein, Naismith, Parker. Oh, you don't mind. Scissor kick gets them forward.
They've already lost their 7th defender.
Franklin. Oh, touch and go, and whether it was pay to mark. Thompson. Off to Tarrant. And now Anderson can carry it out of defence. Good strong mark.
When I said they lost their 7th defender, he got trapped inside, underneath the kick.
Move it on. Play on.
Been all right, Newman, Brownie, hasn't he?
He's been terrific, Sandy. 31 disposals now. And a late inclusion after Ollie Florent pulled out before the game.
Parker, 30 disposals, 2 goals. He's been all right too, Sandy.
Got some exciting young fellas coming through Sydney.
Yeah.
Nice identification in the middle. Finds Malikan, and he's got Franklin. Oh, bit of a double grab from Buddy. Malikan follows up his earlier work. Kennedy, possession 35. And he ran straight into Cunnington. He was ready and waiting and wrapped him up. And the Roos able to wrest back control, but not for long. Hanbury, Hewitt again. Handball down the line. And he scored it over the line and out of bounds.
Hewitt.
Here's an incident from the third quarter with Buddy Franklin. That's why the crowd were booing him.
Love tap. I'd be right.
Yeah, it looked like Durden actually really lowered his height, got into a crouch then.
Cunnington to Clark.
He said that you don't like being slapped in the head.
McDonald. Kangas through Thompson.
I think when you have a look at this game, boys, the contested possessions 156 to 121. So that's minus 35, which is a smashing. It gives Andrew Swallow a real opportunity to come back into this team and compete again as a contested possession midfielder.
Free kick at centre half forward, and it was young Lewis Melican, Kingy, as Nathan Rovat went to run forward to make position. He tried to bumper bar him, but all he ended up doing in the end was lightly coat hanger him. It wasn't really aggressive, lightly. Well, he sort of hooked him around the neck and dragged him to ground, but there was no real venom or malice in it. It was just a free kick.
So he's got the kick from 40 metres, and he goes across the face of goal.
Do you think Andrew Swallow gets another opportunity in the next couple of weeks, given the numbers today, boys?
Yeah, I think he does, King. Yeah, they'll be disappointed in their performance today, but Sydney have been magnificent, haven't they? They've got their game back for the past decade, which has been missing in 2016, but
it could be a,
he still deserves. I wouldn't have thought that Brad Scott would have put a black line through Andrew Swallow this early in the season.
Could it be a horses for courses, depending on who they play against, whether they need that extra type of body or
mate,
not?
I think you just got to play the players in form that I think you are going to help with this contested football and help around the contest, because it's been an absolute demolition around the contest today by Sydney.
Kennedy, another possession, but he gave it straight to Cunnington, who kicks the Kangaroos in towards Rovat inside 50. He loses it, needs support. McDonald comes in to try and assist. Eventually it's tumbled forward by Clark and through for one behind.
When it comes to your hardcore midfielders, you want your leading cast out there that you know are always going to be there, and then you can start massaging and moving the support actors in and out of the team. It's whether you think Swallow has anything to add.
One thing he's very similar to the other inside mids, isn't he, Durden?
Zeeble, Cunnington.
Apart from Higgins is the line breaker. They don't have a lot of line breakers other than Higgins.
Well, they've got a chance to go forward once again, in towards the pocket, and looking for Jed Anderson and finding him.
And I think that's been an area of the game today. When the ball has left the area or left the contest, we've seen Sydney midfielders really charging out of that area. But today, North Melbourne have been left standing a little bit.
Gets the handball away, and the shot at goal again finds the woodwork. So nothing going the way of North and Sean Higgins at the moment.
So, David, Kingy, the thing that's I'm disappointed with North Melbourne is, yeah, they've got done on the contested ball, but you don't go out there to lose contested ball. You want to win. It's part of the sport. You try and win. Fair enough. This is a brilliant contested ball winning team, Sydney. What's disappointing for me is you've got a couple of blokes in the back line who are running animals in Atley and McMillan, and McMillan especially, who I'm quite a rap for, has kicked and then rocked onto the heel and watched the ball go away instead of saying, I want to be involved 2 or 3 times on this forward play.
Yeah, it's a great point, and I think there's some frustration with Sean Atley that he's never been able to be that 25-plus possession player as a bona fide midfielder or overlap runner.
Because he's got some weaponry as a running player.
Oh, he has. And forward of centre, he should be a goal-kicking threat.
Is he damaging enough with his kicking, King?
Well, I think he is. I think he is, Brownie, but he just doesn't get enough ball. He just doesn't seem to attract enough handball receives or uncontested marks.
He's had 17 today.
And that's his lot, Hutto.
Yep.
I think he has 17 most weeks.
Yeah.
The challenge of getting him to 25 is what's holding him back from being a very good AFL player.
Looking today, King, going at only 36% with his kicking. Now, if you're a spare man and a real ball carrier and a line breaker, you need to be better than that with the ball in hands, because we've seen Sam Reid who's been the loose man at the other end, has been quite dominant.
But he's one of those guys, you know, when you talk about list makeups at the end of a year, you say, right, is there currency in him? Well, yeah. You just know that if he actually goes somewhere, somebody will value him because he has so many attributes. He's going to burn at another club. I know you just can't keep a bloke there forever, but he has so much talent and so much to offer this game as a running backman.
So Franklin, after all that waiting, plays the waiting game, and eventually materialising in the middle for him was Luke Parker, who kicks in the Heaney direction, and Heaney takes the mark.
He's got some talent too, this Luke.
And that is the other significant difference since the start of the year, isn't it? The re-inclusion of this man who was sick for the first month or so, Isaac Heaney.
Well, you have a look at the scoreboard, and you'll go through every attribute or every column. Sydney have used 35 players out of 40, and that's the most, significantly the most in the comp, which means that up until last week they haven't had anywhere near the team that they want out there.
For his third goal, and it's not his best strike at all. In fact, there's no one back there at all.
It's a chest mark if you're on the line. We watch McMillan here. There's Naismith on screen. But McMillan's kicking. He might tap it on the boot. And let's see if he follows up out of the goal square. See if he runs.
Straight down the middle.
And walks.
Wood, a little too far underneath. Marsh belted it down. Now there's a stalemate.
I know it's late in the game now. We've only got 5 minutes to go, but the intent has to be there. Not picking on these blokes. We just want a better showing from them for the North supporters.
Jones with strength, but he's had it for a long time, and he's tried desperately hard, all to no avail, and he's lost it. So Thompson gives it to Zeeble, who gives it to Tarrant.
Good, and go.
And go over the top. Marley Williams is running wide.
That's better.
Draws the play, gives it back to McMillan. McMillan has a look inside 50. Pumps it high. A good attempt to mark was by Anderson. Couldn't quite hold it long enough. The Sydney defence standing firm. McMillan almost completed the mark. Butters up for a second attempt from 49 metres. Goes deep into the square once again. Only to see Grundy chop it off for the last line of defence.
Been good coaching by John Longmire. They've obviously identified that the only person that's going to beat Sydney in the forward line for North Melbourne is Ben Brown. They know it's going to be, they're going to go to him a lot term. They put Sam Reid back behind the footy. It's worked well.
And there he is. To Heaney.
But Mason Wood's a talent. You can't take that away from him either, but he hasn't run to the right spots.
3 bounces and he sprints away. Then a centering ball in towards half forward. At the back is Parker. Flicks it round the body with the right boot. It's coming back, but not enough. Close.
But the stats suggest that they do go to Ben Brown a lot.
Yep.
So John Longmire wanted to take him out of the game. He's been able to do that, only 7 disposals.
Who's going forward? Clark from half back just nurses the kick. Here is Mason Wood.
So he looks down the line. He's got Ben Brown with 2 opponents. That's why they've treaded water here.
Yes, waiting, and then kicks it. Cunningham, pretty easy fodder for him. Falls into the mark.
So if that happens with Ben Brown, it means the job of, and that's what Scotty's decided he was going to play Lockie Hansen for today. He needs another marking target up there, but Lockie couldn't find himself getting to the end of the footy or getting on the end of the kicks.
Newman continues to amass possessions. He's had 35 disposals. Nick Newman. It's a huge haul for a young man. Just his 5th game. Towers. So the margin is 36. Nothing much has eventuated in this last quarter as far as the challenge goes. They've had some chances, North, haven't been able to capitalise. Here's Vickers-Willis still trying to play his trade off half back. Hayward just disposed of. Ball leaks back out to Marley Williams. Misfire on the handball. Made Sinclair a bit of a sitting target. Hayward, nifty little hands in there, wasn't it? And then Papley's kick down the line.
That's a skill error.
Buddy?
Good umpiring.
Let's have a look at the live ladder. And Kingy, it'd be interesting to bring you in on this discussion as well about the Swans. I mean, they only just moved up gradually today with this 2nd victory, but the competition is so even, and we went through the fixture at the start of the coverage. They're certainly not out of it, are they, as the year progresses?
Went up 6 percentage points today, and probably missed an opportunity to go up another 6. They've left the door ajar for the Kangaroos, and got some easy scores late.
6 clubs on 5 wins. It's quite extraordinary as Clark finds Dumont just forward of the wing. Ball's going to drop short. It was touched, so Mills is away to Lloyd.
Read it beautifully, though, Callum Mills.
Yep. Heaney's hand pass well smothered. And Callum Mills, it is late in the day, Callum, I know, but gee.
Party tricks.
Hanbury. Short, that's all right. Sydney well in control.
George Hewitt. Yeah, he's got the ball now. He's benefited from Tom Mitchell leaving. George was a pretty well 95% stay-at-home forward up until this season. Mitchell leaves the club, and Hewitt's spent a lot more time in the midfield, so his numbers are way up on anything he's produced previously in his career.
Yeah, up to 29 disposals today, Derm. There's Hanbury, who had 2 goals in the first half. Good-looking strike, just going across the face of goal, and it may remain in play for the moment. It does. Callum Mills is going to be first to this, depending on the bounce. It's going to be okay. Flicks it back, clever kick. Just a little too much, but almost perfect. Here's Hayward. A snap at goal by Will Hayward. And he's got it. The young man in just his 8th game has his 10th goal and his first for the day, and he joins the growing list of goal kickers for the Sydney Swans, as they're up to 18-12 and a 7-goal break over North Melbourne.
Brad Scott on screen there would be displeased with the way North Melbourne have brought the ball forward. This is the second half. The kicks are going to... See the length of those ribbons, though, the turnover. They're in the air for quite a time, those kicks. And that's given at least Sam Reid, as the extra on a lot of those occasions, a chance to get over there and affect the turnover.
Sydney, on the other hand, this is going to be win 11 out of their last 12 here at Etihad. Their only loss in that period of time was earlier this year against the Bulldogs, and that was a pretty respectable loss because of the number of players they had out.
It's surprising though, Lockie Hanson was pulled out of the forward line term. Second half, they've got no real other tall target except for Ben Brown. Mason Wood hasn't been able to have any impact on the game.
Wait on this mark.
McDonald down towards Brown, out-pointed again.
For the want of a target, yes, I am surprised. But for what Lockie was doing, no, I'm not. He just couldn't get on the end of the kick. And in the end, several times, many times, he was within 2 or 3 metres from where the ball dropped to. Now, that's sort of nowhere. At least run away and get to a leading area.
Cunningham down the line for the Swans. We've got one last one. Oh, Heaney. Gibson, as they round it up. Back to Hanson. Williams. Bit of a standoff. Hanson again. Vickers-Willis. Tarrant. Dabs it. Oh, for Mason Wood. Another error. Heaney out to Lloyd. They're on the run with Parker. Through the middle again, Reid to Hanbury. The siren sounds. Swans have made it 2 in a row. And in this very even season, they are still very much in the mix. If they can keep this going from here, a comprehensive win. They bullied North Melbourne and got home by 42 points at Etihad Stadium.
Yeah, great win today. Great win today by Sydney. I thought they were fantastic, Derm. They've got their game back. The contested football has been below par this season, and that's been the hallmark of the game for the best part of a decade. They were able to get their game back on track today. You know, North Melbourne, we can be critical of North Melbourne, Derm, but I think the North Melbourne midfielders, they struggled as much because Sydney's pressure was magnificent. They had no room to work. And I thought the Swans were very slick inside with the hands, and they were able to release to the outside.
They've got 3 very good players in the midfield. They've got Higgins and the 2 Bulls in Cunnington and Zeeble. Other than that, Swans. I'm thinking, because of the fights, I was thinking of the old day, North Melbourne versus South Melbourne. But the Swans had too many bullies in the middle who were wonderful.
Josh Kennedy was one of those. 37 disposals. Here he is with Kingy.
Yeah, he was awesome today, the captain. Fantastic. That's the Swans we know. That's the trademark Swans football, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was good to see a real even contribution across the board from a lot of especially our midfielders have probably been down earlier in the year. So it was good to
get on top of the contested footy and hit the scoreboard a couple of times too.
What is it about this venue? You've won 11 of the last 12 here. You're here again next week against the Saints, which is a good sign, but you must love getting down here and playing at Etihad. Yeah, I didn't know that stat, but it's obviously a great deck, and you know what you're in for. Come the Monday, you know it's going to be a good condition, so it's easy to prepare and get ready. So we're going to be in for a tough contest because the Saints are in ripping form as well, so we're looking forward to it next week. I know the ladder reads what it reads, and you've started the way you have, but do you look too far in front? I mean, you're starting to stack a couple of wins now. How far in advance do you look? Oh, I mean, I think the competition this year has probably shown that if you start to get a bit ahead of yourself, you get quickly brought back down to earth, and that could have been us maybe earlier in the year, and so I don't think we'll be looking too much further than next week, mate. Go and have a rest, mate. You look like you're a big bucket. Yeah, thanks.
11 goal kickers contributing to Sydney's 42-point win over North Melbourne, and Josh Kennedy, the captain of Sydney, leading the way. A break, but the Sydney Swans celebrating here at Etihad.